in, one way out. Show yourself. I'm feeling like a dangerous. Nobody can beat me. Seriously? No. Not shining, but to be. Now I'm lying, I'm tiny. Just being you. So where the hell are you? Oh, there you are. What, you wanna play with me? Let's go. My favorite skin, where are you? Where? Okay. What? Thought I'm gonna die. Am I wrong? Actually, so am I wrong? so shit. Seriously, guys?
Zoom in and out these banks, they gon' need more funding. Going
Not again, not again. I'm gonna find you, man. Wait for me. Piece of shit.
We also have nonstop and Kelly. Let's toss it over to them to get their thoughts.
Thank you so much. Z Kelly here, joined by nonstop, and we are currently in the player lounge where the players just behind the camera are getting ready. We can see them all grouped up, strategizing, getting ready to get in the game. And I know we're ready, and I know you guys are ready, but as you can see, we have a little bit of time, and we wanted to break down what's going on around the map.
Yeah, now we want to take a look firstly at the northwest side of the map. Lots of talk about Queasy's team in particular landing up here to the north side of the map, the Hive. This is a really great drop spot for them. A lot of talk about, on paper, this team looked like a team that could win this global championship. And one of the main reasons for that is, of course, they have that spire right in the center of the is building up on top of that, getting some tags on some of the teams around. And if we throw out the teams that are around, there are so many names around here that they can look for tags on. Of course, we have the teams down to the south, but Kelly, these are some big names around them.
I mean, let me say, with this Spire being able to build up your Surge Tower there, you know that in this season, a lot of people are crash padding on, but having that natural height on top of building it is giving them a bunch of protection, and they need that protection because look who is landing around them. You got Must to the northwest, Mr. Savage, Reason, and Chap, who have been absolutely impressing everyone during the Div Cups just to the north of them. Of course, can't forget about Clicks, Eomzo, and Higgs. We have Kanata, Rapid Bolts, King, Phaser, Pigs, and then of course, you guys have been watching the 1v1s over the last few days. Arc has been on an absolute tear. So to have those names around you, it's probably good to have a little bit of protection.
Definitely, lots of good early surge opportunities for these guys as well. But the one downside of this drop spot, I guess you're looking at this, really good surge, loads of loot in that drop spot. The one downside that they're having is the lack of metal at this drop spot. They don't have absolutely loads, and they do solve that in two different ways. There is a bunker just about here, and of course, because it's a drop spot where they get that queen, they can access that bunker whenever they like, whether that be at the beginning, or of course, maybe they want to rotate in there late, refarm some of that metal as well. And what they can also do, as you mentioned right there, Muzz is up there, they can rotate all the way up to here and refarm some of the metal at a resistance base to the north, and then of course it's a really nice position for them there as well.
Yeah, even if zone pulls to the southeast, they still have so many static launch pads there, not having to so they can go over to the northwest, get that metal, like you said, and then rotate anywhere they need to. But speaking of rotating, we need to rotate to the now southwest side of the map because we have another big name landing over there. And of course, it is Vico, Vino, and Flixie. This has been a team that has been on everyone's eyes essentially since they formed up earlier this year. But what we thought was going to be an uncontested drop over at Canyon is no longer the case.
Yeah, Coyote's team has decided to show up. This is quite a recent development as well coming into this global championship. So huge changes for Vico and Flixie. It's going to throw a whole new spanner in the works of their drop spot.
Yeah, and it's going to kind of throw a little bit of issues for the teams that are landing around them. Obviously, Vico
What the hell?
Looking for some potential tags. They can either get that from Mix's team to the southwest, but of course, you have teams landing over here, like FKS is going to be landing right there on the mountainside, and then just south of them, we have our OCE team.
Yeah, I mean, there's some big questions here about Alex Anon and Resigns, because of course, there's so many questions about how they're actually going to get their Storm Surge tag. For an OCE team, not typically too strong on the Storm Surge, right? They haven't necessarily got those strategies clearly at the beginning, but what I'm excited to see what these guys do, maybe they could try and go for this mountain position right there. You can sort of see it rotating up to there, trying to get those tags. Maybe, of course, we could see Vico and Flixie, if they do win off spawn right here, maybe they'll make their way over to this hill, because remember, it's such a power position, Kelly. Not only do you have that elevation, you also have those launch pads as well, which can take you right into the center of the map.
But you know who loves that power position as well? Well, it would be the team landing over in Demon's Debris. You might have heard of them. That is Acorn, Angers, and Koyo, a team that has been on everyone's top 5, top 3, if not even winning the whole thing. And I know we got some Gentle Mates fans in the audience right now that are all cheering for another Poyo win, back-to-back champion. Is it possible? Landing over in Demon's Debris, it is quite possible indeed.
Yeah, it is. And as we take a look at the rest of the map, there is, of course, a sort of trend in the medallions, right? Of course, we know there's a few medallions on the map. Typically, what we've known as, of course, we have it at the Hive, we have it at Ranger's Ruin as well, and we also have one over here in this sort of area right here at Demon's Debris. Now, this was how things were actually looking at the very beginning, right? Now we've seen a big change. We've seen a big change to where now that medallion and, of course, that queen that spawned at Demon's Debris now has a 50-50 chance at spawning at Dystopia City as well. Some big names landing there. Could we see a little bit of a contest?
Well, you're talking about changes. We got to talk about one of the biggest drop spot changes I think a lot of people are talking about is, of course, Pewterbot, Cold, Ritual, moving spots, landing over in Dystopia, getting triple contested. I think there was a possibility of them thinking they were going to ego some players out. But if you've been watching some of the off-spawn fights recently, I don't know if that's going to be the case. However, if there's anything you can expect from Pewterbot, Cold, and Ritual is that they're unpredictable.
Exactly. Remember those queens that these guys are fighting over, of course, in this sort of area up there as well. The teams that are actually going for these, they're so beneficial, right? Because you can get all of that hero ranking so early, have access to the bunkers like I mentioned earlier, and even those drop pods that come in, they can get you the crash pads that you mentioned earlier that are so beneficial. The big question for me is if a team does decide to maybe need that later on down the line, of course they know when the queen's going to be at the drop spot when they're on the battle bus, right? So could we see a little bit of a change in drop spots made for Poyo's team? Will we see maybe Pewterbot, Cold, Ritual do what they did in Major number 3 and go on down there?
There is so much that can possibly happen, Mini Minor, but obviously only time will tell, and I know that I am ready to get into the games, and I bet the desk is as well.
Thank you so much, Mini Minor and Kelly. We'll see more of them in a little bit. But we need to deep dive onto more of what they're kind of talking about. Obviously, getting to see just those two quadrants of the map, it's got me so hyped, right? Actually seeing names on the POIs, the map itself, it's got me so hyped. Why don't we kick things off with EU, right? We got Fredoxy going up against Tayson. Now, Levin, you've been close to this, right? You've been watching this all year long, but now we're taking this fight to a global stage.
As an EU fan, seeing two top teams contesting each other, it hurts me a little bit. It does.
Yeah.
And seeing two teams who, again, have shown a propensity to be incredibly good off spawn. We've seen this fight take place a couple times in the Div Cups. In the first one, I think a lot of people expecting things to go Fredoxy way vivid, right? Fredoxy has a reputation as being a top off-spawn player. And then Tayson, he came through with his trio, Harris and Chicho. They said, nah. They beat those guys badly. They ran it back again in the Div 3, in Div 1, week 3. It went a different way. Fredoxy team came back and showed the off-spawn prowess that we know they have. And so right now, it sits so evenly. I think a lot of people are almost not knowing which way it's going to go here on the stage today.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what makes it so scary, right? We don't know what to expect. I can tell you one thing that's almost a guarantee, though. Whatever team ended up winning off-spawn in those Div Cups, only 5 out of the 11 times that they actually ended up fighting, they had 3 players alive. So it's pretty much this 50% chance that one of your teammates is going to go down if you end up fighting off-spawn. Of course, we know that they are. And I feel like that could stall, or definitely will stall their early game. Maybe it will also be like this beacon for other teams around the area to kind of come and be like, well, maybe we should go third party this.
I mean, it's possible.
Interesting. So obviously, I like you guys to kind of break this down. I kind of want to take this to the fact that this, obviously, this is a global championship stage, but this crowd kind of takes things to another level, right? So I'm kind of curious to get your guys' thoughts on how this could impact the trio. Do we see maybe those nerves maybe being a little more than usual?
Look, when you look at both teams have 2 what you call maybe star fragging players, right? You look at Harris along the Balkan side, you look at Chino, right? The young Dane who's come in and you know he's a top fighter. Both of those players haven't played on a stage like this, right? They don't have the experience. Coming into a land like this, having that expectation that you're going to come through and just beat everyone in fights, that's a lot of pressure to deal with.
Yeah, it definitely is. I can tell you from personal experience and kind of showing up to in-person events like this, it took me, I think, like 3 times of doing it before I felt like I had no nerves kind of going into one. So that's why we always talk about experience, right? It really does matter when it comes out to these types of events.
I like to hear it, but I also want to hear from these players right now. Frankie and Benji are standing by. Let's hear them.
Hello guys, yes we are, because we've got to talk about Rangers Ruin and this epic off-spawn battle that's about to happen. In the last Divisional Cup, you actually came out on top, Fredoxy. Not really like the first Divisional Cup, where you kept losing, so what did you change to start winning?
No, we just used some time on off-spawn track and became more confident.
Do you think that Tayson hasn't been practicing?
I've seen them practice a lot here. Yeah.
It's just a skill difference.
Yes.
En gros, les deux équipes ont un niveau de jeu différent. Ils se sont tous les deux entraînés très longtemps sur ce spawn, mais Fredoxy pense que c'est eux qui ont l'avantage, évidemment. Tayson, you land at Rangers Ruin against Fredoxy's trio. Who's gonna win this contest?
I think we're gonna win. I think we're better off-spawn team, and individually we're better.
Pour faire simple, l'équipe est meilleure et même individuellement, il n'a pas peur, il se sent en confiance. C'est le trio de Tayson, visiblement, qui est favori.
My jaw has hit the floor because if you look at the statistics going back to Major 3, you are one of the highest damage dealers in the lobby. Do you think he's just a bit scared of you?
I mean, we'll see on stage.
But this is your first time on stage. Do you have any nerves about that? Do you anticipate it feeling different?
No, not about off-spawn. We're confident.
But not confident about the rest of the game, just off-spawn?
I mean, we'll freestyle. We'll see what we do.
To be fair, if anyone can freestyle, it's Fredoxy.
Ouais, elle a bien fait de le souligner, c'est la première fois que le trio de Fredoxy monte sur scène, c'est son premier gros event, mais il est quand même en confiance, il n'a pas peur de la pression, il va boire la pression comme on dit. Tayson, you won 5 FNCS titles, it's the Europe record. Do you think this experience can be an advantage for you and your trio during the games?
I think so, yeah, but I don't really think we have a chance to win this time, just for being contested, but I'll just give it to other players this time.
Il pense qu'il peut encore le faire, il peut aller chercher une 6e victoire, mais il l'a dit, ce contest il va être très relevé. On verra, ça promet, ça va être un très très beau contest.
He said he's going to give the victory to other players. Is he going to give it to you, Victor?
I mean, when you're contested, I think it's like you need a 10-2, 11-1 to win. When you have like so many teams trading surge, being like contested. So yeah, I understand him.
one more question for you. Is there anything you would like to say to Tayson on the record before you land at Rangers Ruin?
Just good luck. Good luck. And Tayson?
Same.
Good luck, guys. Thank you, man.
Ending on such a lovely, sweet note here backstage, but I imagine it's not going to be quite so sweet once we board the battle bus, Zeke.
You know, they're trying to keep calm, cool, and collected right now, Frankie. I can definitely tell there's a bit of a different atmosphere, right? But once again, this crowd is probably the best crowd we have ever had. And I think even people with coming in with experience, the moment M8 starts going crazy, kind of changes things.
Hey, listen, I feel like we've got a lot of experience up here on the desk at this point, and it's definitely it's going to take a little bit of time for us to kind of adapt to the noise as well.
100%. It's funny though, I feel like both players are almost just like completely focused on the off-spawn, and it's just like the rest of the game after that, whatever, man. Like, let's just try and win off-spawn has been the focus. I think both players, again, will be under immense pressure, but we'll see who can do with it the best.
I like that. I like that. Let's keep this conversation going. There's more contestations happening. Let's take it on over to Vico versus Coyota. This is an interesting one. This kind of all kicked off with some social media exchanges, and now here we are at a global stage contesting each other on maybe not the stage we should be doing this, but it's happening.
I mean, yeah, look how incredible of a year both of these trios had. I mean, first, sixth, and second for Vico's trio there. Coyota also putting on an incredible year, especially that Major 3 performance. And this hurts me so much, because if you take a look at global championships on a greater scale, right, go all the way back to 2022, you count in 23, 24, and everything like that, there's only been 3 instances of a smaller region team actually placing in the top 10. So much so, actually, that last year at Globals, there were none in the top 10. So to see such a good team like Coyota's trio have to go up against such a titan of a trio off spawn, it hurts.
Yeah, and I mean, look, it was just last year when Coyota really announced himself to the global world as being a top Fortnite player. And like you say, it hurts to see him having to go off spawn against such a veteran, experienced team. We talk about the way off spawns can go all day long. Ultimately speaking, Vico and Flixie will just have had infinitely better off-spawn practice than what Coyota, Rise, and Yuma have been able to have access to, right? These guys get to practice off-spawn against the best of the best teams all the time. You know, the Asian teams, it's a lot harder for them to get that same level of practice.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Also, you know, we were blessed last night, right? Me, Levin, all of the crew kind of sitting there out in the lobby at the hotel. Vico kind of comes by. Confidence is like the only word I feel like I need to say. Like, Vico just feels so confident kind of going into this all-spawn play, but me not so much, because this feels like an extreme 50-50. Like, is that going to be practical?
I mean, we'll have to see. The one thing I'd say maybe that goes against Vico, Veno, Flixie is that, you know, in the case especially of, you know, Veno and Vico, very emotional players, right? There's a scenario where maybe, you know, they're going in super confident. If those first couple games don't go their way, trouble might be assured. So we have to see how these guys start and whether or not the Asian team don't even want to stay there, right? You know, initially they weren't even going to be landing at this spot. We thought maybe they were going to be landing further up north, contesting Mr. Savage's trio. So there's a good chance these guys maybe get rocked a couple games and say, you know what, guys, we'll take a step back. You know, you're good. But who knows really at this point?
Yeah, I mean, to kind of, you know, further elaborate on what we kind of talked about, yeah, Vico's saying, hey, look, I put a lot of practice in. There was a lot of things he kind of kept going, you know, talking about in the practice putting in. We're all sitting there going, wow, like, you really have thought this through. I almost wonder, though, right, like, this is a show day. You could put a lot of practice on, but when you show up on the day, anything can happen. So I almost wonder if things were to go not in Vico's favor, what happens? You talk about being an emotional player. Maybe they continue to get rocked off spawn. Maybe he has to come back for day 2. I don't know.
I mean, even like talking to the coach of Coyota's trio, right, I was kind of like, hey, listen, like, what's the game plan for all 12 games? Of course, you know, we know that you're going to start landing there, but if things start to go bad, and you know, basically he was like, hey, listen, man, they do not like to be disrespected, and I think they're going to take it to them all 12 games.
Oh, wow.
Man, oh, man. Well, guess what? Frankie, Benji are standing by with them right now. Let's hear from the players.
We are. I can't wait for this Canyon Crossing clash. Coyota, what was your coach Spen's reaction when you said you wanted to now land at Canyon Crossing?
カニョンに降下すると教えたらどのようなリアクションをしましたか？
まあ自分たちの判断に任せる、後悔のないように自分たちの判断に任せるっていうことを言われました。
So he just said here he's gonna leave the decision to us, like he's gonna just, you know, let us do whatever we think it's the best for us.
And Spen has taught you a lot, because 8 Victory Royales in Major 3 in Asia. What is the thing that he has taught you that has strengthened your game?
スペンコーチはたくさんのことを教えたと思うんですね。スペンコーチになってから、大会で12試合の中で8回、勝利できましたけれども、特にどんなことを教えましたか？どんな影響を与えましたか？
なんかもう立ち回りの安定感とか、コミュニケーションの部分もそうですし、なんかそういうことをも教えられて、なんかより安定したかなって前より、思います。
So he taught us how to move more safely, how to behave more safely in the game, but also a lot about communication inside the team. So I think those are the two most important things he taught us.
Vico, what do you think about this contest versus Coyota's trio? Honestly, did you expect it or not at all?
I mean, we knew the whole season we were going to be contested. The first cup where they landed like Cannon Crossing, we already knew we were going to be cons. But at the end of the day, I don't really care about it. They can do whatever they want, right? It's a game, so if they decide to land on us, then I'll just teach them not to do it again.
Pour faire simple, ils font ce qu'ils veulent. Le spawn n'appartient à personne, ils peuvent venir. Mais ce qu'il dit concrètement, c'est que qu'ils viennent, pas de problème, ils seront très bien reçus.
With the aggression that you brought to the Asian region, do you think you can replicate that here at the Global Championships?
なんかアジア地域で本当にアグレッシブなスタイルを見せたんですけれども、この世界大会でも同じスタイルができると思いますか？
できるだけ自分たちを信じて、今まで通りやる予定です。
So we want to keep it up. We want to play it like we want to believe in ourselves and just keep up doing what we've been doing so far.
But if you do start to lose off spawn against Vico's trio, would you consider moving to a different area of the map?
なんか序盤でビコ選手たちと何回も負けたら他のところに移動する予定がありますか？
ない。
No, I don't think I have to translate that.
Vico, last year you finished 4th at the 2024 Globals. What's the objective? What's the plan for this 2025 edition? Maybe top 5, top 4, maybe more?
I mean, the plan was to get first to win this. But now that we're con, I think we can still top 3. You know, if we do good, we prepared a lot for this, so I think we can still top 3, maybe even win if we do good. So.
Pour faire simple, ils se sont préparés au mieux. Évidemment, s'ils peuvent aller chercher la victoire, le titre, ils le feront. En tout cas, ils visent au minimum le top 3. On aura des clients très très sérieux dans cette finale.
Finally, Coyota, is there anything you would like to say to Vico?
Vico 選手に向け何かメッセージ一言がありますか？
Good luck.
Good luck.
And you, have you got a word for Coyota?
Good luck. Hope you prepared well.
C'est que de l'amour pour l'instant. Rendez-vous maintenant sur la map.
Bonne chance. Bonne chance. À la deux.
Man, Vico just trying to farm that aura, and he is successful. But also, I gotta say, I love Coyota. He just seems so wholesome, and I love to, hey, you know, would you leave? Nah. I love to see that.
No translation needed.
Yeah, dude, the fact that we're gonna see these two trios go head to head is so crazy. And again, there's just like one of the many things happening across the map, but like hearing them now, dude, I'm super excited for it.
Like, I'm excited, Zeke, but at the same time, my heart's broken a bit, man. Because, you know, all three of us, we always get called out for our biases, right? They always say I'm EU biased. They always say you guys are NA biased. And I tried to show some of the other regions love. And when I look at some of the other regions, Coyote, Horizon, Yuma are a team from Asia that I really want to be able to champion these guys and be like, look, these guys can hang with the best of the best. But if they're competing all 12 games off spawn against one of the best EU teams in the world, they leave me no choice but to sit here and just have to look the other way, man. I mean, it's going to be fun. It's going to be entertaining. I wish we could see both these teams uncontested, though.
Yeah, I mean, I love that point, right? Because a lot of people kind of coin Coyota as like the Asian peanut butter. Sometimes people will even say, hey, peanut butter's like the NA Coyota, right? Kind of goes back and forth right there. That's how good individually Coyota has shown himself to be. But, you know, we got to go ahead and respect the confidence on the other side of things as well. Vico basically saying, hey, listen, we were planning on winning it. We know how detrimental.
Absolutely, that would be one of the best performances we've seen from a team ever, right? You know, it would be mental. And I think the reason why a lot of these guys are like, I'm concerned I'm not going to win, it comes from a respect lobby, right?
Yeah.
When you look at some of the other teams in this lobby from some of the other regions, a lot of these guys look at them with so much respect and go, I'm contested 12 out of 12 games. If those guys are uncontested, it's going to be hard keeping up with them.
I like that respect. Again, I just love looking at this through the lens of a global championship stage. I agree, though. I don't want to see these guys fight. I want to see both these trios make it to endgame and kind of see, okay, what do they have prepared for us? But now this could go back and forth, you know. I'm scared. I'm excited, but That's what Globals is, right? At the end of the day, we're going to be fighting it out, and there can only be one trio that walks away as global champions. Now, of course, you've kind of heard a little bit from us. Why don't we hear a little bit from this crowd? Frankie, Benji, what do you?
Thank you, guys. We do need to test the loyalty of the audience here in Lyon, because we've just discussed the epic off-spawn battles we're about to witness, and we need to see who the crowd is siding with.
Tyson versus Fredoxy. Fredoxy versus Tyson. Selon vous, ce contest, qui parie sur Tyson?
Vous en pensez quoi, Lyon? Fredoxy!
Ooh.
I think Fredoxy might have the edge.
I think too. Vous l'avez vu, il y a eu un deuxième contest. On vous a parlé aussi du trio de Koyota face à celui de Vico. Sacré contest encore entre les deux équipes. Selon vous, dans le public, qui parie sur le trio de Vico?
Lyon, le trio de Koyota!
Even.
Pretty even. And I think I might know why, Benji. Because the audience here, really, their support and their love is going to any team with a gentlemate on it! And we do have many teams with one of those gentlemates players on it. And we're going to be introducing them very soon, Benji.
Oh yes, 7 players for N8 gentlemen doing this final. This is the public, this is the crowd that you heard since the beginning of the show. This is N8 fan. They're so crazy. Guys, make some noise!
And that's just the Gentlemates fans. Before we go back to the desk, Lyon, tout le monde, faites du bruit! Zeke, back to you.
Listen, okay, this is one of the best crowds we have ever had, and we're not even in game yet, okay? You know, in that moment, we get the elimination start flowing, we get that Victory Royale moment, it's going to be key. Now, as we start to kind of focus back in on the competition, I wanted to highlight something for you guys. 3 of the best players from last year's Globals are finding themselves once again back on this Global. Peterbot, Poyo, who were a duo that split up early this year, and Queasy. So we wanted to take some time to kind of highlight where they are all at and how their trios are performing so far. Obviously, we got to start with M8 Poyo.
They're partying.
They're partying.
They're partying.
They're already gone. They're like, see,
they see his name. They see his name. I mean, how can you not? Look, I think a lot of people coming into the competition this weekend, Vivid, they're looking at Poyo, Acorn, and Aegis as big favorites to win it all.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. When you look at the situation as a whole, right? Uncontested at one of the best POIs in the game right now. When you take a look at their history throughout the year, first, fifth, second, when you take a look at the individual performances from the likes of like Agers, the most eliminations on NA with 40. Playing absolutely out of their minds, and of course Poyo also playing out of his mind. You've got Acorn on your team to lead you in the right direction, make all of those pivotal calls with the experience to back them up. The trio just looks so good.
The storyline would just be so perfect, right? Poyo had to deal with a lot of criticism of people going, what's Poyo without Peterbot? What can he do without Peterbot, right? He came through at the first major of the year in NA, won it without Peterbot. Can he come to the Global Championships this year, win it without Peterbot? Can Acorn solidify himself as the GOAT IGL in Fortnite? He's won so much, he's done it online, but can he do it here on this stage? And of course, Aegis, an FNCS champion in his own right, who has been underrated at times, but he has been a shining star all throughout this year.
Oh man, I'm so excited. Let's move on. Queasy, Swizzy, Murstache. Levin, I'm coming to you. And what's interesting about this trio is obviously the Swizzy factor, right? finally getting to play together with his actual trio mates.
See, I can't even hear you, Z. I can't even hear you right now. They're way too loud for my guys, Swizzy, Mustache, and Queasy, man. Look, the setup for this team, again, the story is so important because you are right. Swizzy has dealt with so much adversity in his career. In 2023, he wins Major 3 in EU. He can't play at the Global Championships there due to visa issues. In 2024, he gets the visa sorted. He can play. His teammate Vanya can't make it. He has to play with a Phil and Yapko. And even playing with a Phil Vivid, he gets top 10. He won't be choose the eventual champions to win a game in Peterborough and Poyo. It still wasn't enough. This year, Swizzy finally gets to play with his teammates, and he has two of the best players in the lobby to be playing with in Queasy and Mustache. Uncontested, these guys, they might go the whole way, man. I really believe it.
Yeah, I mean, Swizzy and Mustache, two of the best fraggers for sure in the game. Levin loves to talk about it. Queasy, he considers him to be the GO-IDL as it currently stands in Fortnite. Second, 11th, second at global events in the past. The win right there.
So many times.
So close for him. Can he pull it off this year?
This really, you would think this has to be his year, right? Like, he's come so close. And this year, everything looks set up so perfectly for them. We saw the breakdown from Kelly and Minnie at the start of the show. They broke down why things look so good for them on the map. I think a lot of those things will come to fruition today. I hope all goes well for that trio, and I really believe in them.
I love that. Okay, obviously the remaining player of those three, it's Peterbot, Cold, and Ritual. You know, when we kind of came into this, these three names is kind of like, hey, any one of these trios could go on to win. But then we kind of throw a wrench into it when Peterbot, Cold, Ritual are triple contested, bro. Why are we doing that at globals?
Oh, the triple contestation. It's a hard hurdle for me as an analyst to kind of jump over and be like, these guys can still do well. And then I look at it, right? Obviously, you have unanimous best player in the world on your trio. But then when you take a step back and you take a look at the individual performances of Cold and Ritual in Major number 3, you're like, now hold up a second. Cold obviously always has like the best damage ratio, always is right there with eliminations, damage dealt. We know he's very, very good. Then Ritual at the start of this year was getting a lot of flack. Like, Ritual, like, what are you doing? You're holding the trio back. What the heck, man? Takes the entire year, grinds his mechanics. I'm not even kidding. In Major number 3, he was very, very close in comparison to Peterbot in eliminations. Ritual had 25. Peterbot had 33. So the individual skill level of all three just looks so primed up for global.
Yeah, I mean, it is just mental, right? When you have, you know, two players on your team who at any given moment can just best player in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, you have a very, very good chance of doing well in this competition. But like you highlighted, Zeke, triple contested here at Dystopia.
Yep.
I mean, even with that being said, I still think a lot of people expect these guys to come out on the right side of things more often than not across the 12 games. But ultimately, it's just too chaotic. You've got to think, right? You know, 3 teams landing at 1 POI, it just can't go well.
It's so chaotic, but I can't lie, Levin. I think we're hearing the whispers. I think socials are hearing the whispers as well. It's like, do they have something cooked up? Are they actually going to be landed there?
You've seen it. I mean, people have been suggesting that maybe these guys might cook up some sort of teamy strat where they're landing at a couple different places over the course of the 12 games. If any team could do that and pull it off, it would be them.
Man, this is crazy. You guys have me so unbelievably excited. But it's time. All right, we got to get these players in and ready. So, Leon, give a big warm welcome to your players.
Leon, give it up for Tayson, Chicho, and Atris. They've got plenty of experience, but will it be enough to take them to the top? Let's get it.
It's Curly, Cooper, and Reed coming out hot of NA. They're now taking their gameplay to the biggest stage of them all, but can they keep up that performance?
Give it up for Tisco, Striker, and Canoe. Representing Brazil, they're here to prove their worth against the rest of the world. Let's see what they've got.
Poland's pride, Pictarm and Demas. While being up-and-comers throughout the year, they've certainly proved they can shake up EU lobbies, but can they do it on land too?
It's none other than Victor V, Paper, and Epic Whale. Fan favorites of the NA West region region, but also heavy hitters in this competition. It is time to lock it in.
From Brazil, Gazetta, Way, and Scarpa, the Major 3 qualifiers are now ready to take the fight on the international stage and show them how lethal the region can be.
A few household names of the NA region. It's Canada, Rapid, and Bolts. This weekend, they'll have to come together to face off against the toughest competitor in the world.
Coming in hot, Seti, Yapko, and Panzer. After switching up ahead of Major 3, these guys displayed instant chemistry making their way to Globals. Now the real test starts.
Malor, Mansour, and Adapter have touched down in France. This Middle Eastern trio is not to be underrated, and they'll make sure to leave their mark on the lobby this weekend.
The Wonders from Down Under, Anon, Alex, and Resigns. After a dominating year on OCE, they're taking the battle to the main stage. Watch out, these guys mean business.
Far from gentle, it's Polio, Agers, and Acorn. It's been a big year for these guys, and concluding it with the Globals trophy, that's just the icing on the cake.
That this is going to be your first LAN, Curly, but luckily you have some very experienced players with you. Reet, and of course, a former global champion in Cooper. What has this experience been like so far for you?
I mean, playing with the global championship winner has meant a lot to me. I mean, I'm playing with an official winner here. But, it's been a great experience so far. Yeah.
And Cooper, you've chosen to play with these guys. What's so special about this team?
I think Curly has a lot of potential. I think what Mero saw in me, I see in him. So I think he's going to be great in the future, a great prospect. I think he's going to be really good.
And how do you feel about your chances of taking back the crown?
It's not looking great in terms of how I'm predicted, but the same thing happened in Copenhagen and I won, so we'll see how it turns out.
Quickly, very quickly, Reet, we've got to have some more positive words about winning.
Oh, yeah, I mean, we're going to win. I'm excited. I'm excited to go out here and play and do our best, give it a shot.
Bien sûr, let's head to Benji.
Eh oui, Frankie, je suis avec un nouveau trio. Les amis, Lyon, s'il vous plaît, du bruit pour Bolts, Rapid and Canada! Ooh la 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 la. Canada, how do you feel, man?
I'm feeling amazing. I love France, baby. Let's go! Come on! Let's go!
You're the GOAT that you think you are. Thank you, Canada. You have this experience from big stage like today, but today it's different because of huge French atmosphere. Do you think you can handle the pressure?
Pressure's all I need. I'm feeling good. I'm ready to win. Let's go, baby!
Make some noise from Canada! And now, back to you, Frank.
Thank you. I had to find Aegis Acorn. Acorn, you've been to many of these Fortnite global lands, but how does this one compare so?
This is the craziest land ever.
And how do you keep your focus in-game leading these guys when the crowd is so loud?
We're locked in, we're ready to win, and we're going to bring it home for M8.
And you're going to bring it home for America, potentially. Poyo, you could do the back-to-back here in France in front of so many fans. What would that mean?
It mean a lot. I mean, I can barely even hear you right now, so, yeah.
Do you have anything to say to the fans?
Thank you for being here. That's important.
Well, thank you so much for talking to me. Good luck today, guys. We need to meet some more teams.
It's your boys, King, Phaser, and PH Sin. After tearing up both Brazilian and NA lobbies throughout the year, they're here to wrap up the competition in style.
Say hello to Vortex, Mountain, and Goofy. Making it to Lyon was no easy feat, but these guys are coming in with lots of motivation to win it all.
Put your hands together for Pars, Pump, and Baka. NA West did not stand a chance against these guys this year. The question is if they can keep the same pressure.
Better late than never. iJob, Cammy, and Hottie have made it to France. And with globals on the line, there's no time to waste. They're here to crush the competition for real.
The pride of Middle East, Halad and FKS, proving their worth throughout the year is tough, but proving it on the global stage is even tougher. It's time to lock in, boys.
Make some noise for Clicks, Higgs, and Yamso. Going home empty-handed just isn't an option. And with the trophy directly in sight, these guys are bringing their A-game.
Get loud from Murum, Wixie, and Buyuriru. Qualifying for Major 3 was just the start. With their eyes on the prize, they look to take the trophy home.
Mix and focus and Upwell in the building, everybody. And this trio's talent has brought them so far already. But it's time to go the distance. Let's see what they've got.
Walking in now, Art School and Salco, all the way from NA West with a major win. They're looking to bring their domination all the way to the global stage.
Give it up for Yuma, Toyota, and Rise. After dominating Asia this year, now they're ready to prove that they've got what it takes to win it all at the international level.
Ladies and gentlemen, Furious, Vanya, and Pixie with a strong home crowd behind them today. These guys are destined to go all the way. Pressure has never been higher.
So, obviously, I had to come and keep the seat warm for Vanya Boo Boo because I know there are a lot of fans here in France who cannot wait to meet this team. Here they come. Pixie in front. I know we have some Havoc fans here at Leon. Pixie, you've been to many of these global lands. How great is it to know you have Havoc fans waiting to see you play?
It's amazing. It's the best ever.
And I know that you're going to put on a show for them. Let's come over here then. Marius, I know that Germany loves you, but now France loves you too. What's that like?
It's amazing, bro. It's amazing. It's such a good feeling.
I can imagine. And Vanya, they call you Vanya Boo Boo. You spent a lot of time with the fans. What would you like to say to them here in France? Sometimes actions speak louder than words, which is why I'm going to say, let's head to you, Benji.
Et merci Frankie. Je suis avec un nouveau trio. Ils viennent encore des États-Unis. S'il vous plaît, du bruit pour Higgs, Helmso and Clicks. Wow. Clicks, how do you feel, man?
I feel great. This is going to be the one. I'm bringing it home.
Breaking in, I bet it's making out. Busting out and swerving, moving fast, no time for chilling out.
North America, because you're taking this so seriously. What did you learn from playing in a different region?
So, você foi para os Estados Unidos para melhorar. Por quê? O que você conseguiu tirar disso, dessa viagem?
Ok. A gente foi para a NA porque é uma região muito diferente, muito melhor que a Brasil.
So they went to North America that has a better quality. So they were able to have better practice and they show up today the best they can do.
And you and Fraser are an experienced duo. Now, of course, you're playing as a trio. Do you think that trios is your favorite way to play this game?
Para mim, eu prefiro pouco mais duo, mas eu acho que o meu melhor nível é no trio.
So they like to play duo better, but they think that their trio is very strong.
I think you're going to be very strong. Thank you so much for talking to me. Obrigada, guys. Leon, please make some noise if you want to meet some more players. Victory!
Walking in now, it's Shadow Sphinx and Muzz. The high-tier lobbies just could not contain them. And now it's time for them to unleash their true potential on the global stage.
The terrors of EU, Veto and Vico, having established themselves among the best of the best, they only lack one thing, a trophy. This weekend, they look to take it all.
From Asia, Razzle, Raito, and Tay-Tay. It's a long way from home, but the Major 2 champions are here to deliver the performance of a lifetime.
Hold up, it's Pablo, Fredoxy, and Cheeto. These guys have been on fire this year. With a Major 3 championship under their belt, they're looking to continue that streak.
Show some love for Pika and Wax. The venue may as well be home base this weekend, and with so much support behind them, these guys are set to head straight to the top.
Give it up for Chad Reason and Mr. Savage. You know them, you love them, and now they're here to impress France this weekend. Let's see them climb to the top of that leaderboard.
Never count out at me, because Snowy, Ryu, and Zod are here, and these guys mean business. Plenty of motivation, but now it's time to showcase that the Middle East is all about.
Domination is key for Peterbot, Cold, and Ritual. A stellar year for the trio with all eyes on the trophy. They're not playing for second place here. It's all or nothing.
Hold on, it's Kazi, Tinka, and Aspect. Representing the Oshi region this weekend, these guys are here to ensure that they'll be remembered for more than just their potential.
Make some noise. It's Braids, Visuals, and a Minish. Crushing the competition this year and making it this far comes with expectations. Let's see if they can deliver.
Bienvenue on Swizzy, Queasy, and Mustache! After a year of causing chaos in lobbies on EU, now they're ready to bring the heat to Lyon on the global stage. It's showtime!
I have got players from 2 French teams here in Lyon. First of all, from Havoc, we have Wax. I can definitely hear the Havoc fans over here. Thank you, Wax. And over here, representing the Gentle Maids, we have Ping and Malibuka. Now, Malibuka, I know it's going to be really hard for you to hear me right now because the fans really want to show how much they love you. But do you have any words for them?
Guys, keep supporting us. Someone for Gentlemaids will win.
Is that what you think? Qu'est-ce que vous pensez? Will they win today? I think the crowd are on your side today. One more question, though. Do you think that Europe can face off and take this trophy home?
Yeah, 100%. Europe is taking this trophy.
Let's head to my favorite European, Benji.
Et je suis avec un nouveau trio et pas n'importe lequel. Regardez, messieurs, dames, avec moi du bruit pour Rezum, Chap et Mr. Savage! Savage, hi. I remember that you got your call at the last major, at the last game, at the last moment, and now you're here on the stage. How do you feel?
I feel great. I'm excited to be here. Bonjour, Leon. How we doing?
like you can see, you have a huge, massive fan base here in France. Do you have so many words, maybe in French, for your French guys?
I don't know that much French, but bonjour, je m'appelle Martin, comment tu t'appelles? That's all I know in French, but yeah.
Une légende tous les domaines. Avec lui, je ne sais pas si vous êtes au courant ici, mais il y a quelqu'un dans ce trio qui parle mieux français encore, et même très bien. C'est Chap. Pourquoi? Eh bien parce qu'il vient aussi un peu de France, il est un peu de chez nous, sa maman elle est française, alors il parle français. Chap, est-ce que tu as un mot, ou plusieurs même à dire, un message à transmettre à tous les fans français ici aujourd'hui?
Je sais pas, je suis juste content d'être ici et j'espère de ramener la coupe à la maison.
Guys, make some noise for Mr. Savage, Chap, and Reason! And now, back to you, Frank.
Thank you very much, Benji. Now, the Gentlemates fans have been waiting for this moment, I think. Because earlier, on the big screen, when we showed their faces, there was so much noise, so much cheering in this audience. And I know they are just getting warmed up. So please, boys, on your feet. Leon, make some noise for Swizzy, Queasy, and Thundash! Queasy, I have to come to you first. You've had a couple of second places at Global Championships. How do you make it #1 this time?
That's the goal. I mean, second twice, and if I have these fans and the atmosphere, should make it.
And Swizzy, for you, hang on a second. What's this? What's this that you want to shake my hand? What's this? Oh, okay, right. Show me how it's done. It's hard with a microphone, but I'm managing. Swizzy, it seems like you've already got a good friendship with the Gentlemates.
Yeah.
And what would you like to say to them as they chant your name?
I didn't hear.
Have you any words for the Gentlemates?
Gentle.
Gentlemates. Do you want to have a go, Mustache?
I feel amazing, but I want to hear one thing. Gentle! No. Gentle!
Nice. Okay, guys, I think I should probably let you get ready to load onto that battle bus because the teams here on our stage in Lyon are locked and loaded and ready to go.
Guys, I have one word for you. Chills. Okay? The way this audience is going crazy for these players, it's got me so excited. Seeing them now take their seats, interact, getting their thoughts. We're getting close to kicking off the competition. I guess the only question I have for you guys is, who do you think will end in the top 5? I'll start with you, Viv. You got some insight. You put together a little list for us. Why don't you talk us through it?
Yeah, I guess that's the big question this weekend. Who is going to perform well? I went ahead. I kept the NA bias going. I've got Acorn, I've got Idris, and I've got Pollo winning the whole thing. I mean, I've talked about it before. I think their situation is just too good. Uncontested, all 12 games. If that remains, I think it should be easy for them. The only thing that people might be looking at is with Kanata kind of sneaking in there. Top 5. They just seem so confident. Bolt is playing so well. Kanata's been here before. I think they're going to sneak in.
I like your list. I think a lot of people are sleeping on Kanata's trio. I think they have a really good setup. I think Kanata understands what it means to be on this stage on this occasion. I think they could really surprise some people today.
Okay, all right. What about you, Levin? What's your top 5 looking like?
My top 5 is looking pretty similar, I'd say. Have we got any Gentlemates in the building? Any Gentlemates over here? Because I'm with you, Vivid. I think the team that's going to take it. I think it's going to Gentlemates. I think it's going. Let's take a look at my top 5. Right now, I'm rocking with Acorn, Pollo, and the Ages. I think when you look at how things are set up for them, it just looks too good. It looks too good. Pollo has that experience of winning. I think it's going to carry them. The crowd's going to carry them. I also got Marius Vanya Pixie in there. They've had such a strong year in EU. They've had adversity that they've overcome. Swizzy, Queasy, Mustache in there. I think the team that maybe might surprise people in my list, I got Deemish, Dom, and Pix. I think these guys have been unbelievable all year over on EU. And they're a very new, inexperienced team. All three of these guys are playing at their first ever LAN right now. And so you might be thinking, Levin, how can you be so confident of these guys? Every time we've put them in a situation where we've gone, you're inexperienced, you shouldn't be able to perform, they over-deliver. And I think they'll do the same here this weekend.
Man, the list looks so good, guys. I am so excited, and we hope that if you were not able to join us here in person, that we hope that these roars from this crowd breaks through, that you can hear it, and in those moments, get excited with us. This is the Global Championship. After 6 games today, another 6 tomorrow, we will have new champions, prize money, a trophy, Acts of Champions 3.0. It is crazy to think we are finally here. Are you guys hoping to see anything out of today? Maybe it's just something out of game 1. Maybe you're hoping to see a trio end well. What are you hoping to see today?
You know, Zeke kind of always asks me this question going into like each one of the majors, right? We spent a lot of time on the desk together, and there's really only one thing that I ever want when we jump into a competition like this. I just want good Fortnite. I want to be entertained, and I cannot lie, I don't think that it's even possible for me to not be entertained.
All I ever want is a good moment. That's all I ever want. I think we're going to see plenty of them across the next 12 games, but today I think we're going to see people really make their mark on this lobby. Who's going to come out there and get that first win, man? I mean, that's always the most exciting part. You know, get the jitters out, get that first win out of the way, and then we start rolling.
Yeah, dude, again, it's like, you know, obviously there is definitely some players who have experience on LAN, but this crowd just changes everything, and especially, you got to think you have to come in so locked in. If something doesn't go your way and you're eliminated out of spawn, like you said earlier, you just have to sit there and watch everyone else take one step away from you closer to that trophy, right? So how are we going to try and keep mentals under control under these circumstances?
I mean, I've got no idea. How are you going to keep your voices under control, right? The players are kind of walking out. I'm over here trying to scream at them like, yeah, let's go. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe I shouldn't do that so much. I don't know. I mean, I feel like even commenting to your teammates might be a little hard sometimes, right? Especially when we get into the end game, right? The crowd's going to be popping off at every single one of those eliminations. That keeps happening. It's going to be crazy. There's definitely going to be some stage of adaptability for every single one of our players. I mean, we talk about it all the time, Levin, experience, but you can have experience for this.
And look, Vivid, you're someone who's played on amazing stages in your career, right? And I don't think you ever played in an atmosphere like this one, man. It's intense out here.
No, I definitely haven't. I think this one is going to go down in the history books, and we haven't even jumped into game number 1 yet.
Man, you were talking about game number 1. There it is. The battle bus is ready to go. Once again, the pinnacle of Fortnite. The very best trios will now begin the fight to the top. Who will walk away as a global championship trio? Who will take hold of the Acts of Champions 3.0? And who will take home that unbelievable trophy? The competition starts right here, right now. Once again, Leo, let him know, because the competition starts here.
The time has come. The Fortnite Global Championship Taco all year long. 33 teams from around the world have been battling major to major to major just to get the opportunity here. If it's not for the money, if it's not for the fame, it's to call yourself the best in the world.
It's all about that player pride, Jacob. We know just how much is truly contained amongst so many of these trios competing here today. But starting things off hot already, this is an off-spawn fight that we have been expecting to see. And what I really want to know is the outcome. Prodoxy trying to get that first touchdown. Prodoxy gets the first weapon. Sure enough, Haters on the run. Still trying to see if he can score away from this one. Pablo, he's been taken down. Chino's fallen too. It's Tayson with the comeback. Prodoxy trying to see if he can lock it down for his team. But Tayson determined to remove Prodoxy's team. And sure enough, disaster strikes. Prodoxy's trio fully down and out for the count. And Tayson has claimed the area.
Already one of our contested fights, 1-0. And do you see this already? They're already already not landing at Dystopia City. Everybody was talking about it. They heard the rumors. I kept my ears to the streets all week long to figure out what their game plan was. And scrims leading up to this weren't necessarily netting the best results. And now you see them already over towards Foxy Floodgates. And what this does not only affect Visuals, Braids, and Minish. This also affects Agers, Acorn, and Pollo. This is the team. They typically trade off Surge into the distance. Now they're already disrupting the game plan.
They're not the only ones. Veno, Flixie, Vico, they've got Rise in their sights, completely tackling all opposition here at Canyon Crossing. Rise doing what he can to try and stay alive, but entirely too many players to overcome. Veno breaks right through, and it's going to be the first knock. Another elimination tallied up here for Vico, Veno, and Flixie. Coyota, the sole survivor of this exchange.
And Coyota has pulled out a ton of tricks throughout his career, both online and in global events just like this. But early on in game number one, he's already being forced to play out some of those tricks. He has to disengage, stay alive a little bit longer, and try to have a chance back. But you hear the crowd in the background, Swizzy, Queasy, and Mustache, uncontested at the Hive. And some are looking at this could be one of the best POIs. You get the experience for your OXR rank, the medallion, the mythic weapons, a lot of extra heals at the POI itself, and then the elevation. Kelly and Mini Miner were breaking it down so that way they can start to build that base early and accumulate the Storm Surge, so that way later on in the game they could easily start to rotate around.
And most importantly of all, they're uncontested here at Hive. Whether that stays true throughout the course of this weekend, well, that'll be determined by how things develop, but other teams still caught up in a little bit of battle processing at the start of this match. Dystopia City heating up. Epic Whale, Paper, Victor V, they made it very clear they had zero intentions of ever leaving this POI. So Tete, Raito, Razo, they're going to have to force some sort of a conclusion to this exchange before the third parties start to trickle in.
Yeah, and it's not just Cold and his trio that are over on this side of the map that they have to watch out for. You see a team at the bottom of your mini-map. They can easily try to rotate towards the north, disrupt what's going on. So that's going to be one of the key aspects to a fight like this, but you're already seeing a flank going around from Peterbot, Cold, and Ritual. They're ready to take advantage no matter what happens here, no matter who comes out on top. It's going to be them, but Tate takes a big shot. Epic Whale, the 6-time FNCS champion, dealing a massive amount of damage.
Tate down to his last little bits of HP, though. Epic Whale, he's going to have to take a moment to also get some relief. Paper, nice supportive fire, and that's a big elimination cleanup onto Tate. But now, Cold, Ritual, they're starting to close in. They're interested in everything that Raito has to offer, and that's going to be the first knock here for Cold. An immediate elimination, but they've already signaled to Epic Whale, Paper, and Victor V that they've got company. Shields are cracked. Peterbot's not letting anybody escape his sights. Peterbot's aim is just notoriously strong, and he is chasing them full of crash pads. He might be able to make it before they can pull up the double revive. He's challenging the wall. Victor V trying to do what he can to defend. Victor V goes in big time, though. Peterbot shut down. Cold, Ritual. They don't need this. They don't want this. They can still clean up the exchange, but without Peterbot, they're going to be forced to temporarily retreat.
This is almost exactly how it was playing in some of those practice games. But this time, Paperwell and Victor V, they're being the aggressors in some of these situations. They try to disengage. Epic Whale goes down, but Victor V does it again. He was a huge part of them even making it to the global stage, clutch after clutch when his team went down through 4 different drop spots. But now the foot has been turned. Cold and Ritual now need to start to think in and outside of the box. How do we get our IGL back? This is exactly what Victor V did, from the revive to in the box, shutting down Peterbot early.
Just so greedy there by Pete. Victor V doing exactly what he needs to, showcasing what kind of a fragger he is. But Atris, Tayson, in a spot of trouble here. A couple of splashes. Gonna ensure that Chicho is still good to go. But Chicho, he needs an opportunity here for his team to provide a little bit more backup. FKS tries to apply pressure from a separate angle. Claude, Hero, also looking to see if they can get some good aggressive fire through. But things are just picking up at Rangers Ruin. And Tayson going to be able to pull things out to a little bit of a standstill now. Chicho, Atris, Tayson, they might not actually have to force this battle.
Yeah, it seems like they're overall just kind of prioritizing trying to get as much surge as possible. You see their material count relatively low in comparison to after winning that spawn fight. You'd think they'd try to get as much resources as possible, but they know when it comes to Storm Surge, it's essentially currency. It essentially allows you to freely rotate around the map versus other teams that might have to slowly rotate, sit in their surge bases a little bit longer, and figure out what they're going to do. But you see, they figured it out quick for Cold and Ritual. They already get the reboot back on up, and they're ready to play this one out because they're making way on over to Foxy already.
Still a really big wake-up call, though, for this trio. They have got to be careful. We know just how capable they are at finding those eliminations, and they're not the only ones. Pollo chasing down Razzle, Agers and Acorn right behind them. These guys just staying so tight-knit and rolling through this map. They're barely looted up at this point too, Jacob. It just looks like Surge is all theirs to control.
Yeah, you can kind of see the crash pads, no audio. Razzle didn't even hear or see it coming. And you see there's no knock, straight elimination. So that team, that was the third one from Dystopia City, is down and out. But fight after fight, Arc, I did see it in the feed. He already got one elimination, and I was talking to them a bunch. You know, me being an NA West fan, this was their game plan all along. Contested or not, they're going to push either towards the north or the south. They feel like these teams are easy to fight, and already that confidence continues to build. But Goofy is just trying to slow things down just a little bit, and Monster shot to take down the shield of Salco. But Arc and School, the IGL and the Fragger, they're still there. They're holding the walls and making sure nobody can get out of this one.
I mean, being honest, Arc's been running it all week long inside of the scrim lobbies, inside of the practice room. He is more than content to take up a box fight with anybody, and especially if he's got his teammates right next to him. You can see the confidence from the NA West boys, but Oshi still doing their best to hold their own despite being down a player. It doesn't seem to be deterring them. They know they can't really leave this area because they're likely to be third party. They've got to just find a way to delay and hope that they have that little bit of a saving grace from another team entering the exchange.
Uh-oh, I see somebody rotating relatively close. They said, hey, where's our invitation? We want to join this party. We want to figure out how we need to approach this situation, and they're lurking all the way underneath. So it's going to be Salco, School, and Arc, the ones that need to watch out just a little bit. Vortex and Goofy, they're just trying to hold their ground as much as possible. But this is the thing, against a team like Arc, School, and Salco, when you try to hold your ground like this, that's for them a sign of weakness. They're going to continue to put that pressure down. If you look at their material as well, they don't need to disengage out of this fight. They can wait as long as they want, because in essence, they're just denying you time, they're denying you opportunity, and denying the chance to get that reboot back.
But it might not be as prime as what it initially appeared, not with Queasy hovering in the distance. You can see they got a little bit of elevation to work with too. They're bound to take notice of what's going down. Elsewhere across the map though, south of Hive, King, PA Zin, Phaser getting fraggy up against Scarpa and Way. And that's going to be an easy cleanup there for King's team. Feeling really good about that aggressive start.
Now over towards Supernova, and already early on, Taco, you can kind of see where the zone is favoring a little bit towards the north, massively towards the west. So even though Clix, Higgs, and Yamzo haven't had to rotate just yet, they can focus on trying to get as much Storm Surge as possible. They've run into trouble. There's a speed bump in their plan. That's Reet, Cooper, and Curly. And he was very vocal, Reet was. He said, hey, we understand what's going on around the lobby. We just got to make some things happen. They have 2 early eliminations. That comes to Storm Surge itself, and they're continuing to rotate through so many other teams' loop paths and pathways.
There's also just so much confidence behind Reed, and just teaming with a player that has so much faith in themselves. It's bound to just have that trickle-down effect to his teammates. Not to say that Cooper and Curly aren't clearly thinking of themselves in the same way, but it is a huge positive. But every single time this weekend, Jacob, that we see the Gentlemates, Malibuca, Ping, loading across the screen here, just waiting to find their reposition opportunity. That sole elimination on Malibuca right now, but tailing just behind Yapko, Panzer, and Seti. This could be disastrous if they don't realize what's coming up behind them.
Yeah, there's no audio visuals that far away, so they're just going to try to get some easy surge. You see the launch pads coming out. That's a huge signal. Seti and Panzer have to kind of second guess if they want to go for it, because Yapko's just getting beam targeted out of the sky. Just one shot left is all they need, but he possibly leaves that render distance and figures out a way to survive. Heads up to Seti and the Panzer. They not only building that to try to fire back on him, but that coincidentally enough shielded their teammate eliminate Yapko for him to survive.
They fully protected their trio, mate. That's just excellent team play, but pulling back, Baka, Pars, Pump, a little bit tangled up right now north of Supernova Academy. Saad, Snowy, and Ryu, though, arguably in a slightly worse position, but the intention is clear. These two teams very likely to clash here, Jacob. They could both definitely utilize Surge. We know just how high those numbers and that threshold can truly climb.
Yeah, and these are two teams. I think they land relatively close to one another, almost contesting each other even. During some of those practice games, they were actually kind of feeling each other out, fighting it out, but neither team kind of won that scenario, no matter if they won the fight or not. So they're trying to take a slower approach, but that means they're rotating parallel, with the zone moving towards the north, stay toward the dead side of it all, and just try to make sure they have the best chances to survive what could be a very, very chaotic Storm Surge if it does deactivate. And that's why you're seeing so many teams taking that proactive approach to try to gain some elevation, some high ground, and even if it means fighting it out on the Surge base.
Hero, he knows Wixie is low. Nobody there to provide a little bit of backup either. That could be the first knock here. Hero with the big opening. FKS going to capitalize immediately, throws that body back into their box space control, and now FKS trying to make the approach from above. Just so aggressive, though. Hero's going to be forced to pull back just a little bit. Too much firepower breaking through, but Buiru just not healthy enough. Barely enough HP, and he can't escape from FKS. Aethris even getting a little bit more involved from a distance, and this is part of the problem with trying to take some of these extended box fights. You just got these teams from so far away beaming through your walls.
Yeah, just got yoinked away. But Kanata, Rapid, and Bulge. Kanata's perfection continues in terms of qualifying for every single FNCS Grand Finals in the history of FNCS. But I think he's coming with a different energy this time around. If you remember a few years ago, contested against Malibu and Thomas at the Global Championship, he just had a different mindset. He's like, I'm contested, it's not going to go well. This time, he's confident. He says, hey, we're going to win. And the way they've been playing lately, they have as good a chance as anybody at taking that top spot.
A little bit of a sleeper, maybe under the radar team there, but Vanya, Mariez, Pixie, one of our major champion winners in EU, and now looking to see if they can extend their dominance across the globals stage. Vanya, Mariez, Pixie, just steadily trying to creep up on the opposition, but thinking twice, recognizing a couple of the teams local to their area. They don't want to overextend here, but for Mariez, he's just waiting to see whether or not he can break out these floors from underneath Valor and Mansour, doing a decent job to prevent Vanya, Pixie, and Mariez from an outright collapse.
Yeah, and they're just kind of playing as calculated as they can. We've seen a lot of these fights kind of not necessarily end as smoothly and as cleanly as some of these trios would expect, especially with so many third-party potential there. You know, we saw Aethris just kind of yoinked that elimination away early on in this game, and now Vanya just trying to target it after. He feels like he has him soloed out, dropped him down a few layers, but he's able to catch himself and not let this pressure get to him too much. But they're in the zone, Taco, and that kind of depletes any opportunity from heal off later on in the game, the longer and longer you stay in this situation. But even if they win this here, they have to be careful. One team in front of them out of zone. You saw Chaff, you saw Reason, Mr. Savage. They're towards the north of them, so this is not going to be as dead side of a rotate as they think it will.
But the main thing that I'm noticing, Jacob, is that Vanya, Mariez, they're not carrying any white heals. So unless Pixie actually has something to work with, yeah, these guys are going to just have to get out of this position. They can't afford to keep tanking these early storm ticks. It's just not worth it. But on their way out, Valor and Mansour definitely not going to make it easy. Cold, Ritual, Peterbot, they might have just found Flixie and Venno and Vico, but for right now, Rangers Bruin, what seems like it might have been heating up, these guys are actually looking to kind of slow it down.
Yeah, and for, you know, Ritual and his trio, they just kind of have scraps. They got sticks and stones. And look at this on the other side. Multiple minis, big pots, full health, almost max mats. And even though they don't necessarily have that information on one another, that is a great decision for them to kind of go their separate ways, because I would almost give that one up to Venno and his trio if that did fight it out. Continuing looking around, Cammy, how the eye drop all the way from the Shining Span Bridge. And honestly, even though they're on different teams, Seti, Cammy, I don't know if it would have been the same global championship without him, but Storm Surge finally showing its face. 602 damage above the threshold. As much as I want to feel confident, we know that can change in the blink of an eye.
Oh, easily, but Acorn and Agers, they might just be the ones to actually intervene here. They seemingly have favorable positioning, but Cammy, a little bit of pressure applied with the approach now of Malibuka, Ping, and Wox. Just trying to be wary. There is so much company in that area. It's very easy. Just one window edit for too long, you could easily be domed and taken down.
Uh-oh, 321 damage below the threshold. This is the two-time NA West champions. In Major 1, they won 6 out of 12.
Snow coming, run up all the loot moment, or it's more gunning. Zoom in and out these banks, they gon' need more funding. Go and get the bag, call your squad, they gon' blow something. Go and get the bag, more jewelry and more money. Get the drop, they taking, breaking in, I bet it's making out. Busting out and swerving, moving fast, no time for chilling out.
Putting it all into the test as Cooper lands a great shot on the Valor. You see him dropping him down, trying to finish the fight. 1v3 situation. And he is just hitting haymaker after haymaker as he gets another knock in this situation. 319 above. Cooper with a 1v3.
That couldn't have been a better time to clutch things up, but Cooper is still going to have to essentially play his life here. There are too many players that are going to prevent him from finding that breath of relief. 42 below even, inside of that damage threshold for Surge. Jacob, it is so sad to see after what a phenomenal clutch he just pulled off, and with Wox, Malibuka, and Ping pressing behind him, that's going to be tough to actually survive. But Peterbot just continues to have to deal with playing the defensive here. Bold, Ritual, and Peterbot now looking to be on the move, but they're still just barely above this damage threshold. They're going to have to turn and fight eventually.
They're sitting on a teeter-totter right now when it comes to Storm Surge, and it's knocking them above, below, and it's essentially doing a little bit of mind games for a team like this. And you see his material count, 3 builds left. They almost have to go on to the next team they see, but it's Veno and his trio. It's Kanata and his trio. There's so many dangerous players all around. They're just happy that they're 73 above the damage threshold, waiting for the next zone, but they have to do something because everyone around them is being proactive. They see them out the weak team. Vigo, Veno, Flixie, they're targeting over. Pole goes down. That's Kanata stealing away that elimination. Veno's going to clean that one up, so points go to Kanata's team. Loot goes to Veno's.
EU on one side, Middle East on the other, and Ritual, the last man standing, but not for much longer, fully eliminated. That is a huge blow here in game one, but Vico, Veno, Flixie, now they might have drawn the attention of the lobby. They're going to take a moment to pause, replenish their shields. Halad and Hero still doing what they can, but they're lingering just outside. They're going to have to still try and push past Tayson's trio, and that's going to be hard to tunnel through because Jacob, with the way that the zone is pooling over resistance, so much water, so much exposure, teams are just burning through materials.
Yeah, this one's going to get messy. There's one lone team. I think they're a duo on the other side of that island already. They don't have to worry about anything. Meanwhile, they have to make decisions here on this side of the zone. Do you stack up the beach coast as long as possible with different players, or do you try to make that daring play, try to get towards the center? Because who knows, if the zone goes south, that'll be a play that works out for you, but if it pulls north, if it pulls towards the east, that's when they're going to have some troubles.
Take a look at what's happening on height, though. Queasy, Merstache, and Swizzy. Can you think of anything different to ever take place in an endgame lobby, Jacob, than seeing Queasy immediately try to challenge and take height for himself? You can already tell the Gentlemates are going absolutely ballistic right now. Swizzy and Merstache just following through Queasy's commands here out of their IGL, but They've got the entire lobby in their sights. It's all about maintaining their positional control.
Oh, they actually found themselves 66 below, but you can see immediately with that minigun and some pre-edits, they're able to kind of take him down, grab that elimination. Luke and Storm Surge all being accumulated in a blink of an eye, kind of leaving Pixie and Marius by themselves. The good thing, though, is they're 568 damage above the threshold. The bad thing, though, their loadout, their material count, that one is not looking good. 5 bandages. Luckily, they don't have any HP missing yet, but they have a max pull all across the water to the other side of that island. It's not going to be easy for a single person in this game, but there goes Malabuka. Nice drop by the Hottie. He needs it, and he needs it now because he's barely above that damage threshold.
And that's the kind of refresh that Marius was hoping to find, but instead it's going to be all Malabuka. But no, he's going to actually be forced to keep charging forward. He doesn't even get a chance to try and collect that body loot off of Hottie. Fortunately, he still has a good amount of materials and just beaming a minute as he trails behind him. The face crash pad combination just taking him so far, but when you're in this position, Jacob, as a solo over the water, you're just hoping out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah, you just got to take it one step at a time. You can't get too ahead of yourself, especially if you hear action going down around you. You got to use that as a distraction, try to get out. But Marius finds himself in a tough spot. Well above the damage threshold, and another elimination on the eye drop, but he is by himself as a solo with a rotation to make. Now he's just getting ticked away little by little. Talad is able to finally take him down. That's a big confidence boost for a team like that.
Of course, but Height has had a couple of developments here. Striker and Kadu, we saw them posturing a little bit earlier on before that last rotate. This next pool is going to send everyone packing, though. Reason, Mr. Savage Chap definitely setting up a visual. Is actually going to be one of the first to try and move into the next position. Cisco Kaido Striker, though, right up above. Kanata, Rapid, and Bolts trying to see if they can be a threat. But if you're going to be in this height position, you've got to make sure that you are controlling, funneling players away from height, away from secondary height even. But with the crash pads in play, Jacob, that's going to be so difficult.
Yeah, you got to watch out, too. Chicho, Riz, Tayson, they're underneath. They're probably having their eye on the high ground. Cisco's trying to put good damage onto King Phaser PH Sin, but it backfires on him, forcing him to retreat just a little bit. As Tayson's just building his way up, he knows he doesn't want to be stuck on that mess on the low ground. And even NA West in the elimination feed going crazy as Arkan Skull take down King Phaser and PH Sin with a little help from Chap.
But Tayson's got such an excellent position in that secondary height layer now, shooting towards that front side of zone. It's only Clicks and Iyamzo. They lost Higgs somewhere along the way. Iyamzo doing what he can to claim a little bit of space here next to Clicks, but ideally, they're going to have to duke it out in the low ground, Jacob. They need a big refresh. They've got to keep that material count high, but Mustache, he's actually fallen the mid-ground, getting a little bit too chaotic, and he just couldn't break through.
Yeah, Chicho's the one that gets the down, but Kadu's the one that steals away the elimination and getting a lot of loot for their efforts. Queasy trying to do the same thing. Steal whatever is left back from Mustache. And you're seeing there's a decent amount of loot. The Flowberry Fizz, probably the most important part of the entire loadout that he has in that inventory is Veno, Quixie, Vico. They're still down below. They're trying to claim space, and with a minigun, that's just going to be a little bit easier. But with no extra shield, Vico's got to play a little careful here not to take too much damage. Swizzy, Queasy, same thing, but they have multiple splashes. They got the slurp juice. They got the key to success in their inventory.
But they don't have the materials, so that's why Queasy just drops all the way down to ultimate low. They're hoping that they can pick up an elimination or two and then maybe look to try and challenge for a retake on height. They know how scuffed everybody's looking down here, but Vico finds that elimination onto Art. That's going to be a massive refresh here. Vico, though, getting beamed. The moment that he tries to make a layer swap, he is immediately put down into the dirt. Clicks fighting for his life, still in the low ground, but he just can't hang. Off-ball's going to be the one to take him out.
Yeah, even though Clicks went down, the damage has been felt for that team that he just took out 2 different players in a tough situation. As Tayson, Chicho, they're trying to look up, but that minigun is just causing so many distractions. They have to focus on getting to the front side of the zone, but they're being persistent. Down goes high ground. This is their chance. They're looking up. Striker gets cracked. He gets knocked altogether. Cisco's taking damage. He's going to fall as well. Chicho is absolutely insane. As him and Tayson, they go from the off-spawn battle against Prodoxy to high ground in the end game.
But they're still going to need materials. Chicho has 0 build left to his name. All of his material count dropped to Tayson. Swizzy still holding his own as well. Deep inside of these ultimate low ground layers, he's looking to try and maybe cut off bolts in the process, but Kanata, Rapid. Can the double revive actually be a success? And sure enough, it's a fully intact trio versus the sea of duos. Friesen finds a big elimination onto Swizzy though, and Chap going to immediately drop back. Tayson still on the high ground. This is looking primed up for Tayson to bring it home.
That was a huge knock for both. They finished that elimination on a reason. This is a 2v2v2, and the only team alive with all three is going to be Rapid, Kanata, and Bolts. Ow, that's not my fault. I didn't curse him, but it is now just one less player that they have to worry about. Tayson trying to drop down low, but maybe a little too soon. Chicho as well. He gets shut down, and Kanata, Rapid, and Bolts steal the game.
Max Nada strikes again, and this time it's for the Victory Royale. He's been saying how confident he's been feeling all week long, Jacob, and after that performance, I can't help but believe him.
Let's go, Kanada! You were telling Benji how confident you were going into this competition. You were telling me in the player lounge yesterday you felt like this was your year. Now you have the first Victory Royale, but you made it look simple.
I mean, to be honest, Rapid IGL like a goat right now. I'm just following. I'm the minigun in the whole lobby, and we just winning the game for free.
Winning the game for free. I don't think the other trio is going to let you have an easy ride in future. For you, Bolt, what was it like being caught in the chaos? The three of you going into the end game.
Yeah, I mean, Rapid was just full tarping. I'm literally just looking with shocking out on my wall. Everything was a max. Guy on my double edit, 120 on height, Nada goes up from the back, dead on both. Literally a go.
First game, first Victory Royale. That was the plan?
Yeah. First of many.
First of many what?
Wins. Victory Royale. 4.
Ah, il mise sur 4 victoires. Messieurs, dames, du bruit pour le trio de Canada, Rapid and Bolts!
I'm enjoying this, a confident prediction of 4 from your IGL, but Kanada, I think you're expecting more wins.
Oh, we got at least 3 more wins in a bag. I already said backstage I'm doing at least 4 wins in this entire tournament for free.
All right then, well guys, I'll let you get ready for the second lobby of the day. Leon, let them hear you! Bolt, Kanada, and of course Rapid. Let's head to the break. We'll be back soon with more Fortnite.
the global championship, and we swing for the fences. I cannot believe Kanata comes out and gets the first game on the day. Mentals, way up. Kanata stocks, way up. Absolutely amazing to see the trio shine in this moment. And I love that we kind of got those interviews right after, right? Because normally in majors, we don't get that. We just like, oh, they're amazing, whatever. To go right to them, hey, talk us through, to get each and everyone kind of saying, hey, this is what I was doing, this was my part, this was their part. Oh my gosh, man. Vivid, I love this.
Yeah, I mean, that's the type of reaction we wanted. No better person to go ahead and win game number 1. We know Kanata, every single time he pops up on that stage, he's going to let us know exactly what just happened. But 11, I mean, we're kind of watching through this game. There's so much stuff happening throughout the entirety of these moving zones, and we never really checked in with him. And then I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. Rapid's alive, Bolts is alive, Kanata's alive, the full trio was up.
I mean, I love the celebration there, man. Look at it. He actually celebrated more than people who have won global championship. You know, I don't think we've seen people celebrate like this when they even win. And it just goes to show how much it means to them, how much it means to have such a good start. You're right, Vivid. Things were looking so good. I mean, as soon as we cut to Kanata, he has minigun in hand. I mean, I'm getting flashbacks to the end of last year. I mean, things were so good for them towards the back end of this game. And to see all of them be confident, right? We know, like, Kanata's going to be confident. That's a given. Yeah. But Bolts and Rapid, the way they were talking, they really believe that they're going to go out here and win for however many more games.
Dude, 11, Zeke, Bolt just being like, yeah, man, I just had my shotgun out, and everything was a max, dude.
Max, bro.
Dude, you got to be feeling good, right? Because we kept talking about it. You got to adjust to the stage. You got to adjust to your setup. The fact that in game number 1, you're already hitting maxes, and you know you are.
And I love that for Bolts, right? When you look back to last Globals, he popped off. And at the end of the event, every single player that was in that lobby afterwards was going to me, Levin, man, I'm trying to play with Bolts, man. Can we get Bolts in our chair? Bolts has to be the guy. Everybody thought he was going to ascend to be the best player in the world, right? And he's had an up and down year. But to come back on this global stage and for him to have a first game like that, it goes to show Bolts is still that guy.
I am so happy right now. But honestly, when we looked at those standings, they weren't in first place, right?
Yeah,
we look over and Tayson is in first place. 13 eliminations, right? So again, remember, we are all so used to seeing majors, right? We're sitting in our own region comfortable, but these are some of the best trios in the world. How are we putting up double-digit eliminations in game 1?
This is the same guy, by the way, who started the day saying, yeah, I'm going to give the win to other people. What on earth was he waffling about, mate? He is on fire right now. They win the off-spawn. It's a close one. It's a tight one. But Tayson clutched up big. And then they go on to just win the outright game. Again, it's why it's so heartbreaking we're seeing them fight off-spawn. They can go, Vivid, from having this game to not even getting to play through the next game, right? They might just end up having to watch for half an hour. But this is what they can do when they win that fight. We know it.
Yeah, I mean, incredible stuff, right? Talking about that all-spawn, I kind of mentioned, hey, when you win this all-spawn, it's not always going to happen where you have all 3 alive, and they had that happen, right? No stalling of the early game, and then, oh my gosh, Chicho just putting on an absolute clinic. You're a duo, and you look up and you see 3 people on the high ground. You see that they're only connected by 1 wood floor. You have the confidence to not only go ahead and pressure the team on the high ground, but then knock 2 of them while they're falling from the high ground. Chicho just showing us the aim in full force.
I mean, this is where I start to really look at the global championships and things get interesting for me, because I think a lot of people were expecting in this first game for Hype to look a certain way. Yeah. Right? We know EU teams like to play with it. We know Queasy's team love to play for it early. We know DeinyG's team can do it as well. In this game, it was Queasy's team that had set up. Kazi's team ends up taking it from them, and so Chicho and them are looking up. They might have probably been expecting it to be more reinforced, right? Chicho's probably looking up thinking, Queasy's probably up there. He looks up and he's like, hold on a minute. Just single with time, man. Let's chop this down. And it's so opportunistic, but it's exactly what you need in a lobby like this. You have to take opportunities when they come to you.
Oh my gosh, so absolutely beautiful. Man, as we start to head down this live list, though, Vico, Veno, Flixie tied up with Chap Reason and Mr. Savage. Wow. You know, there's just so many incredible moments. I feel like any time we cut to a different trio, it's just like, hey, this trio's popping off. They're pushing what trio? They're doing what? Like, this is such an exciting time in Fortnite. Once again, I'm going to keep saying it all weekend long, man. Bringing together 7 regions and making them fight. It is spectacular.
I mean, this game looked so good for Venoflixie and Vico. Honestly, I thought they were going to go ahead and win it because, you know, come around to, I believe it was like 9th zone, it actually pulled to the southeast, and they were already kind of primed up, ready to go ahead, full force, grab the front side of moving, and they did. But for some reason, when they got there, they just had nothing left in the gas tank. They couldn't defend the position. They couldn't pick up the eliminations nor the refreshes in time for them to stay alive as a trio. As you can see here, still the individual performances from Vico and Veno still picking up enough points to put them high up on that leaderboard. But man, if they could have just stayed alive for a little bit longer as a trio, they could have won that game.
Yeah, you talked about Vico's confidence coming into the competition, and it was good to see him in his element, not shying away from the stage, not shying away from the bright lights. In that game, there was a couple moments in that end game where it almost felt like they had to tell him to chill a little bit. I saw him trying to like run into boxes a bit too much. But when Vico's confident and he's firing and he's flying like that, he is going to be a big, big problem for anybody in this lobby who even gives him an inch of room to fight.
Dude, I mean, also, you know, we kind of touched on it earlier about height. The way Queasy had that kind of early game, right, getting obviously we know that they're uncontested, but having the queen spawn, I'm thinking, bro, this is it, game over. I mean, and things didn't quite go that way.
It was unfortunate because the setup looked primed for a classic Queasy height win. It just looked so set up perfectly, but Vivid, an unfortunate zone pull. We've seen it happen. You know, it's a part of the game. Of course, as a pro team, you are doing everything you can to mitigate any possible RNG, but sometimes the zones just don't pull your way. And I think that was really the thing that sort of forced them to have to not be able to play high in this one. Still, very good intentions from them throughout that game.
Oh, yeah, 100%, right? It was actually a high ground take, right? We saw them as picks up on the high ground. They had it pretty secured, and then I was like, oh my gosh, it's a bird, it's a plane. No, it's Queasy and co. They launch padded right over, landed on top of them, had it convincingly. And like Levin was talking about, right, the zone was incredible. It was like 7th zone. Every single team was on the east side of it, right? They were chilling. There was this big body of water. All the way on the west side, there was one set of errors.
Snow coming, run up all the loot at this moment, or it's more gunning. Zoom in and out these banks, they gon' need more funding. Go and get the bag, call your squad, they gon' blow something. Go and get the money, get the drop, they taking, breaking in, I bet it's making out. Get the bag, yeah, we ready, go and get the bag, we ready, go and get the bag, you ready? In the back, all of these is in a typo. Cold-blooded road runner, you don't want it. Adorn to go with icy VVS like some snow coming. Run up all the loot at this moment, or it's more gunning. Zoom in and out these banks, they gon' need more funding. Go and get the bag, call your squad, they gon' blow something. Go and get the bag, more jewelry and more money. Dropping, taking, breaking in, I bet it's making out. Busting out and swerving, moving fast, no time for chilling out. All of these is in a typo. We got the
Game plan is still good, right? It already shows that it works. I think the execution of actually picking up the eliminations was the fault.
But that's the thing. That's never the part you're worried about with those three, right? Execution is never the problem. The problem coming into this weekend was going to be, what's the idea? Are they just going to, you know, ride out triple gun? Are they going to go do a team shot? Are they going to try third play? We know the idea now. The execution has to be the easy part. I do agree with you, though. I think as long as they don't allow that first game being a bit rocky to rattle them, things should still look good for them along the course of the 12 games.
And that's exactly what I'm worried about, right? You know, after first game, if I'm Peter Buck Gold Ritual, I'm thinking, okay, hold on a minute. Why did you go off by yourself? What? Now we're having to, like, try and play catch up this whole game. you know, some players in that moment, that's it. Tournament's done. They can't they have to wait to day number 2 to try and get those mentals back in track. Yeah. But this is still Peterbot, Cold, and Ritual, right? This is still a world-class trio. Yeah. So I'm really hoping that they can kind of bounce back after that game. But there was also just so many different things happening. Yeah. Is there any kind of other moments that kind of stand out to you? I think for me, just again, kind of cutting around, being like, wait, these guys are like near each other. There's a bunch of fights happening in zone, a bunch of just crazy shots on players in the sky the entire time. Like, oh my gosh.
I mean, look, before there were a lot of things we can get to, right? I do just want to one last time just big up Victor V there.
Yes.
Right? Because I think there's a lot of players who, you know, maybe if it was 2024, right, when we saw what Peterbot and Poyo were doing there, like, there was a lot of players who back then would have just rolled over and just let it happen. Like, I'm going to go down here, you know, the shotgun's in my face, what can I do? Victor V said, no. I am that guy. If you want to fight me, I'm going to show you a fight.
Yeah, I like the fact that you kind of go ahead and point it out, because now kind of thinking back to her, right, Epic Will, of course, got knocked by Ritual. They knew that was beat coming. Yeah. So Victor V definitely stepped up big right there. Didn't care at all. Just to edit 148, finish him off with 1 AR shot. Incredible stuff. Way to kind of rise to the occasion. And, you know, Zeke instantly kind of saw that moment. He was like, oh, dude, Pops is going crazy somewhere.
Dude, I mean, you know, again, this is at a global stage, right? In those moments where you are kind of put in a situation where it's like, are you going to fail or are you going to rise to the occasion? For Victor V, he rose, and now just think that's just game number 1. What else is he going to look to bring in these future games with that nice little boost of confidence?
Now, that being said, right, you kind of mentioned, hey, you know, we don't see a team in the top 10. We don't see a couple teams in the top 10, right? Peterbot's not up there. Epic Will's not up there. Finally, we see them in 13th place right there. A team that is definitely surprising. We have to talk about it. 17, Acorn, Aiders, and Poyo, 16 points in game number 1. I mean, honestly, with Fortnite, there's so much to watch. I don't even think we necessarily saw exactly what happened to them that game, but middle of the game, we kind of see them up in the top left go down, and we're like, whoa, what's happening?
Yeah, a bit of a rocky one, right? We don't exactly know what happened. We did see in the feed, though, Acorn had gone down. Then it was up to Aegis and Poyo to sort of fend off. Poyo ends up actually, you know, winning the fight on his own, right? Like, he gets the last couple of eliminations, and so they win the fight, but they lose the war, right? Because then it's Poyo left as a solo. It was always going to be a tough one from that point in the game to clutch it up. Even though we know Poyo can, you know, have a clutch or two in him, I think the big thing again is it's just first game, right? We're all hyped. We're all excited. Kanada on the stage is excited, right? He's got that first win. He's feeling good. He's like, I won the first game. I'm winning the whole thing. But it is just 1 of 12 games. You still have so much of your history to write right now.
Yeah, I mean, this is a marathon, right? It's not a sprint, and it's interesting, too, kind of going back to Poyo, because there was that moment in, like, in the mid-game, we kind of saw them pushing the lone player. They immediately find someone on their own. They go, hey, it's not just me going. We're all jumping on this. We're going to burn a little bit of what we have. We're going to start kind of packing up with Surge, kind of setting that up. Let's take their stuff. And then, I mean, things just kind of fell apart. I do agree, though. Knowing this trio, I do feel like it's first game jitters. Right, again, this crowd takes things to a little bit of a different level. So I'm expecting a strong bounce back in game number 2, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that play in particular you mentioned is interesting, right? Because we know in a Fizz crash pad meta, you know, a lot of the top ENA teams are going to be making those plays non-stop, right? They're going to be scouting, they're going to be aware, they're going to know, okay, we can jump on this guy right now. If you are one of those, you know, teams who's from one of the smaller regions, it might be almost a bit of a shock for you at times, right? Yeah. Because they're used to being the big fish on their region, right? Like all the players we have here from Middle East, Asia, Brazil, you know, OC, they're used to being the guys of the lobby. And so when you walk into a lobby like this, you have a lot of players who might not give you that type of respect here. Gotta be ready for that.
Now, that being said, you know, I saw on the standings, we had 2 Brazilian teams in the top 10.
They were moving.
Right? King, Phaser, they were up there. We kind of saw them make it to the end game, and I swear, I think that NA experience that they got did such a good job of helping them out, because it was like in NA, every single time we kind of saw them kind of make it to the end game, they were always as a trio. They do such a good job of making it to the end game as a trio, right? They'll kind of make it around to like that 10th place in the game, and then continuing after that, it's kind of the development that they need. But hey, top 10 right now, pretty good.
That's right. Now, that was just game number 1. As we continue to prepare for the competition, why don't we hear from the players on their thoughts of the competition and the enemy trios on the other side?
I think this is probably one of the most stacked lobbies there's ever been.
All these teams that are here had to be the top of the competition.
そうですね。それはやっぱ世界で一番トップだと思います。
People
get better every single year.
This lobby feels super stacked, FNCS. I heard there's over 140 FNCS wins.
Over 12 games, really the best players are going to come out.
There's a lot more respected players here, so it's definitely more tough.
I think our biggest competition would be Cold's team. Individually, they're like the best players in the world.
وبرضو عندي تيم بويو وايكورن وايجرز من افضل التيام اللي موجوده بالجلوبال.
Poyo's team is such a threat because they've been on top of the scene throughout the past year.
Acorn is probably the greatest IGL of all time. So smart and just knows what to do in any situation.
You got like the EU goats, Chase and Queasy. Queasy's just like, he's a veteran, always making the right calls, and just finds all the young prodigies to help him up to the top.
And then Vino's team, I think they're like the NA version of Cold's team, so like they're all individually good.
Looking at a player like Flixie, I think he has just everything. He has good aim, good mechanics, he's smart.
I think Canada Rapid Bolt's probably going to be like a very underdog team.
They have really good chemistry as a trio.
Vanyak, Marios and Pixie.
They got third, first and third in EU FNCS this whole year. They've been playing very well.
An underdog team that I think will do good is Pix, Demus and Darm.
I think Kami might surprise everyone because he has an uncon spot. I think he's gonna do well.
The top teams are way better because you have like the top teams from every single region.
My surprise Dark Horse top 10 team would probably be Ruse Trio. I'd say they're my sneaky top 10 pick.
From the Brazil region, I think the biggest threats are King's Trio. I think they're gonna shock people.
Alex's trio is the best in OC because they're the most aggressive.
Kyoto, like one of the best fighters in the world, so we'll see what he has to bring.
He's been getting a lot of hype, but like it honestly still might not be enough.
All the Asia boys, like they're nuts.
I think that's the most hard level of competition ever.
All the people that have qualified really deserve to qualify.
The level of competition doesn't get higher than this.
Everything like before this has definitely led up to this.
We got here against all odds. We made it.
We're gonna definitely put on a show.
the Global Championship. Game number 1 goes in the way of Kanata, Rapid, and Volt. An explosive pop-off from not only in-game from Kanata himself, and now we make a return and start to continue the competition. Now, there is a small technical issue happening on stage. We're working to resolve that very quickly, and then we'll get back into all of the action. Let's continue talking about what we saw out of game number 1. Mr. Savage having that moment to pop off. That's what I love to see, and I love we kind of had that moment where he's like, hey, I don't know French, I know a couple things. Got a good laugh out of me personally, I'll just say it.
But you know what I love about that, right? Before we analyze the gameplay, one thing I love, right, is we obviously have a very passionate crowd with us here.
Yep.
And so, you know, obviously they have all their cheers and they love, but they also have a couple boos in them, right? You know, they weren't showing love to everyone. They were only showing love to M8 people. I love how they still had respect for Mr. Savage.
Yeah.
He truly is the most iconic EU personality, Fortnite player of all time. Like, they didn't care that he's not actually on MA, they were just like, we love Mr. Savage.
Yeah, that guy love him.
Yeah, we love him.
Yeah, I mean, Mr. Savage is, of course, great. Right there, though, you know, was knocked a little bit early on. Chap and Reason kind of making it to the end game as a duo, making sure they do find themselves in 4th place. And he's got to be feeling so good about that, because we all know the storyline that is so typical and synonymous with the Mr. Savage name. It's almost like you could kind of change his name from Mr. Savage to Mr. Contested, because it feels like every single time he wants to do good and he's like feeling motivated for Fortnite, somebody wants to land on. And we came into Globals kind of expecting that, right? Coyote's trio was supposed to be landing on him. Vino maybe kind of throwing in a haymaker there, kind of saving him at the last second, right? Preventing that from happening, but boom, kind of proves himself uncontested and early on, 4th place.
I mean, it feels weird. Times are changing, man. As an EU veteran myself, I'm not used to seeing Mr. Savage uncontested, you know, so many times. I mean, we had it in Major 3, now we get the Global Championships. We're being spoiled, actually, because you're spot on with it. I mean, for years, we have just had to deal with him being contested, no matter what, right? And so it's nice to see him get a shot to just build a strategy, play out the game, and he's got 2 great players by his side. I mean, Reason, of course, another just veteran, a legend of EU, and then you have Chap, you know, star of the show who popped off a lot last year, back on this stage now, and he started off really well.
I love, too, that as Chap has been getting here, so many other pros are, like, dapping him up, showing him love, right? Giving him kind of that respect that he's earned, but kind of, like, hasn't really been a thing for some reason. Now, you did mention the fact that he's uncontested. Do we think that will continue to be the case? Because we did see that off-spawn situation go in the favor of Vico, right?
Yep,
so do we think maybe Coyote's thinking, you know what, maybe let me test my luck with Mr. Savage game 2. Let me just see what happens.
I got a question for you.
Okay.
Be honest with me. Do you think Coyote is a liar? Because that man said he ain't leaving, and I believe him.
Say that.
I believe it. He said it. I love how they had to like translate the whole interview, and the one bit where he did not have to translate at all. They said, "Are you leaving?" He said, "Nah." So I think they're gonna stay. I think, you know, all things considered, Mr. Savage should stay uncontested. Fingers crossed, at least.
Okay, I like that. Okay, we also obviously have to talk about other M8 specials. Malabuka, we saw him popping off in this game as well, right? The crowd loving these M8 players. And of course, you know, again, this is just game number 1, so I don't want to get like crazy and be like, oh man, things are bad. It's fine. This is that tester game, this is that feeler game, but them coming out in game number 1 feels like a solid start, right? Like, now we need to pick things up maybe a little bit, but it's a solid start.
Yeah, I mean, hey, listen, it's kind of hard. Well, I mean, maybe it is a little bit harder than I would imagine, but when you have so much support from the crowd, you gotta feel a little bit amped up, right? It's kind of like a little bit of a boon of sorts, right? You're just like, yeah, everyone wants to see me do well. Honestly, though, I mean, listen, they did, you know, kind of like well enough. They got some experience going through this game, survived Storm Surge, made it to the end game. Fell a little bit short when it kind of got to the later zones, but still kind of making it there. It's looking good.
I mean, for all my EU enjoyers, this is a typical Malabuka Watts Ping game, right? They are synonymous with making it to the end game, one of them just going down, and then it has to be a dual clutch or a solo clutch. It's happened so often, and we've seen them have amazing seasons, right? Amazing finals where they finish, you know, in the top 3, or, you know, almost winning at times, where, you know, this does happen, right? So, again, if we're looking at maybe Queasy's trio and going, hey, that was, you know, the setup was to do what they always do, you could say the same about Malabuka's trio, where the setup was to do what they always do. They made it to the end game, a bit rocky, In those situations, though, where they are able to stay all three of them as a trio, that's been when we've seen some of the best performances from any team this year, right? So hopefully they can sort of, you know, stay a bit more tight-knit moving forward.
That's interesting. Yeah, I guess we, obviously, again, this is just game one, right? We haven't seen those solo clutches, right? Kanada's trio coming out in that end game moment as a full trio.
No.
But like in NA, think about how many, even in EU, right? How many times we see these solo clutch moments? You're thinking, what is this player doing alive? It's just them. There's no way, man. Oh, they went out to win the game. Oh, they clutched a top 3, right? Like, but so far it's looked like, you know, if something goes wrong and that trio, a member goes down, that's it. They're all kind of following.
Well, I mean, that's what makes solo clutches so special, because you do not see them all the time, right? That's when they do happen, everybody gets excited. And I can almost guarantee you solo clutches will play a very big part in who actually ends up winning after 12 games. You just have to.
Absolutely. I'm so glad that this is why I love working. No, honestly. Like, it's like,
and Zeke, that's fine.
Yeah, of course not. Zeke, everyone loves you, Zeke. Look, it is so important, right? You know, we always have this thing in Fortnite where people are like, yeah, you don't want to see them having to solo clutch, you know, you want to see them all free up as a trio. Yes, that's true. But at the end of the day, when you look at some of the greatest, you know, results and tournament wins we've seen in Fortnite history, a lot of them are built off the back of great solo clutches. You know, Peterbot and Poyo are not global champions if last year Peterbot doesn't have one of the best solo clutches of all time, right? You can look at so many FNCS wins from all different regions where solo clutching was, you know, the key to a team being able to get over the edge. If you have players on your team who you are confident they can deliver you and get you some extra points as a solo, you are well in with a chance of winning this whole thing.
I love that breakdown. That's so sick. And it's got me hyped, right? Because, like, do you guys, okay, let me test them out here. Do you guys feel like game one, like, obviously it was a great game.
It was.
But it feels like last year Globals, game one was like wild, you know, and then as the day went on, we got crazy. Game one ended in, Canada win, that's pretty crazy, but it kind of felt subdued. You know, it's kind of like the calm before the storm. Am I misreading the situation?
Bro, Devin, Zeke is not entertained.
Whoa,
he's
I didn't
like,
say that.
That's what you're saying, bro. He's like, dude, game one was terrible. Bro. I don't want to ever see a game like that ever again. There's no solo clutches. Like last year's Glow was just better. Bro, that game was good. Listen, it had everything we had everything we wanted, bro. The structure, right? Finding out what teams are kind of going to play for the high ground, what teams are going to play for the low ground, what we can expect off spawn for the rest of the 11 games. I'm excited, and Zeke's disappointing me with it.
Now I know why they have to put Kelly in between you two, you know, to keep you two apart. It's gonna be. I was like, no, like, I'd agree with him. I feel like there was a lot of the beats that we sort of expect to see out of a lot of players. I would say though, I do think it does get crazier. Like, don't get me wrong. I do think there's a couple of levels that we can ramp up to in terms of just like some crazy high ground fights, right? Like, obviously, like that's one thing we've seen a lot of this year in Fortnite. I want to see some just like all out brawls on high ground between some of our top teams. I think the zone pool towards the end there was a big part of why we didn't quite see that happening. But all in all, yeah, man, we'll get the solo clutches, we'll get the high ground fights, we'll get the crazy twists off spawn, because as much as, you know, we've seen these couple of teams say, yeah, we're not leaving, we're going to keep fighting off spawn, you know, at a certain point you do have to start looking in the mirror, you know. Maybe that doesn't happen quite on day one. I think maybe a lot of the times you just ride things out day one, but going into day two for sure, it ramps up.
Okay, all right. Do we think the Storm Surge kind of played a big factor in that last game?
Yeah.
Felt a little, for some trios it was totally okay. For other trios it felt pretty tough.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the fact that one of the very early Storm Surge thresholds did not end up popping makes it very, very hard, right? Because we actually didn't see it active until the threshold was at 64 players, which I believe is around like zone 5. So it was actually pretty late into the game. So those all spawn fights, all those early engagements, they're playing a big part right now.
Absolutely good stuff. Now, of course, as I mentioned before, we are working to resolve a small tech issue. We are going to return to a break, and again, we're trying to get that resolved quickly because we know what you want. It's more Fortnite action. Stay tuned, though. We'll be right back with more action from the Global Championship.
Cold-blooded road runner, you don't want it. Or doing to go with icy VVS like some snow coming. Run up all the loot at this moment, or it's more gunning. Zoom in and out these banks, they gon' need more funding. Go and get the bag, call your squad, they gon' blow something. Go and get the bag, more jewelry and more money. Get the drop, they taking, breaking in, I bet it's making out. Busting out and swerving, moving fast, no time for chilling out. 2020, believe your eyes, winning.
We're back to Lyon. Nous sommes de retour à Lyon. Lyon, est-ce que vous êtes chaud? Ça va, c'est bien. On va se créer des souvenirs tous ensemble ce week-end. J'ai envie de tester un peu là, si vous êtes vraiment chaud. Tous ensemble. Thanks guys, you're so unbelievable. What's the crowd here? Quelle ambiance ici à Lyon. Vous l'avez vu, on a pris un peu de retard sur la deuxième game. Pas de panique, on est là. Je vais vous faire patienter. On va passer un week-end long. Et plus c'est long, plus c'est bon, comme on dit en France. On est ensemble pour tout le week-end. Dans quelques secondes, à peine, la game numéro 2 va démarrer. Vous l'avez vu, une game s'est déroulée pour l'instant. C'est le trio de Canada qui l'a emporté, et de loin. En plus, c'est eux qui ont pour l'instant pris la tête de ce classement après la game numéro 1. Il en reste encore 11 au total, 5. Aujourd'hui, la route est encore longue. On est encore très loin de connaître le grand vainqueur de ce trophée. La game 2 va démarrer. Guys, back to the analyst desk.
Let's go, Benji! Let's go, Benji! That's what I like to see, baby. Man, we are back and we're getting ready any moment now. We're going to get word. We're going to jump back into the action. I did appreciate one thing, though. Obviously, we hate to see tech issues, but they happen, right? This is a live event. Things happen. But we kind of had a moment now. Players kind of taking a moment, stepping away. We have a chance to, like, talk with someone. What I like to really see is all of them are in high spirits, right? Kanado walks up, he's like, Zeke, what did I tell you? I'm like, bro, let's go. That's the kind of hype I want to see. But everyone's in high spirits. Everyone's saying the kind of same thing. Hey, look, it's just game 1. Don't worry about it, Zeke. Stop panicking. Zeke, why are you crying?
Listen, I just hope that it doesn't cool anybody down, right? You want to kind of keep that momentum going for any of the teams that are kind of doing good. We'll have to see if it actually ends up impacting anybody. But, hey, maybe some other teams kind of finding this beneficial, right? A little bit of a break. Maybe they went down early, kind of a little bit of a reset. But, yeah, I mean, hey, listen, pauses like this, not what you want to see, but, hey, sometimes rolling with the punches is what makes the best of the competitive players.
Look, you got some time to reset. Just treat this as game 1. This is game 1. This is the new game 1. You know, game 1 just happened. This is the new game 1.
That's right. You know what? I'm getting word. It is time once again. We are ready to jump back aboard that battle bus. Game number 2 starts right now.
And just like that, we're back. Game number 2 underway, and Jacob, after that performance from Kanata, Rapid, and Bolt, a standard has definitely been set.
Yeah, it was 9 eliminations. And the interesting thing out of them all, they're not even the team in first place. It's the Rangers Ruin off-spawn winners from game number 1, Tayson, Chicho, and Harrison. And honestly, it's not going to be that easy all day long between these two teams. And honestly, I wouldn't wish it any other way. And we're going to go at it yet again, straight off the spawn. A little bit of 50-50 action going down between Pablo and Ariz. Right now, it does look like Pablo might have got the first one. Prodoxy's able to get the second. That's a Sentinel pump and immediately put it to use. Gets the drop on Ariz. They're going for revenge here. And so far, 2 knocks, 2 eliminations. They just need one more as Pablo cleans that one up. That is all 3 down and out.
And now it's time to see what type of conversion we're going to be looking at with Prodoxy's team, because in the last lobby, after Tayson, Chicho, and Acres conquered that off-spawn battle, they were still able to find such a steady placement, steady eliminations. But again, they're not the only teams going head-to-head. Benno, Vico, and I'm seeing an eliminated Felixi along the way here at Canyon Crossing. Coyota's team still posing a massive threat.
I know we had a translator helping us out during that interview, and the one thing that didn't need it was, are you going to switch things up? No! Is what he was trying to tell the world, but this is how it all started off. Vico was able to get the first drop onto Yuma. That opened things up, but unfortunately, that's just the way off spawns go. His teammate got taken down. They go 2 for 2, and now they got to make that conscientious decision. Do you fight, or do you split Canyons Crossing and try to get the reboots later?
Something a little bit more devious, though, possibly taking place here with Clix and Yamzo. Higgs, following suit, Supernova Academy might just be claimed by these 3, but Jacob, we saw so many teams. We didn't see that many surge bases in the first lobby. Almost have to wonder how many of these teams have been counter-stratting some of those surge partners and trying to take matters into their own hands. Victor V, Paper, Epic Whale, Dystopia City has been theirs to own, but they still have company to clear out. Rajito and Tete directly underneath Victor V, but that game 1 momentum swing could be all Victor V needs.
But wait a minute. I know everybody at home thinking the same thing. Where is that 3rd team? But back on over to this side of the map. Venno finally able to get the drop onto Yuma yet again. So it was Coyote, it was Reset that went for that revive. They did find success, but the down is there yet again. But he gets dropped right back into their box. So Venno, Vico, their job is not done just yet. They still have to figure out where and when they're going to get these eliminations and how they're going to get Flixi back into the game, because the reboot ban, Taco is down there.
Still a massive advantage, though, for Vico and Venno having the high ground hold. Halad, Kira, and FKS. Peterbot, Ritual, Cold. They might just have to go head-to-head, but Cold, Peterbot, Ritual, they're taking more of a scenic route here, Jacob. They don't seem like they're going to stick to the same strategy through each of these lobbies. Everybody has to be on red alert. Even though it didn't pan out in their favor for game 1, you can never count Peterbot out.
Yep, it looks like for game number 2, they had some time to talk about it, but they went ahead and spin that wheel. They said, where do you want to go next? And it looks like could be possibly over towards Foxy Floodgates. We don't know the exact drop, but we know where they have their focus at. We tune on Kanala, Rapid, and Bolts, our Game 1 Victory Royale winners. 9 eliminations, really setting the tone and the pace. And I was talking to you, Taco, during Game 1, saying this is a different vibe from Kanata, this major. This is a whole different feel during the Global Championship, and it's already showing up in Game 1.
Touch on that a little bit later on. Right now, we've got Prodoxy, Pablo, Ingo, Chino. They found Yuma. They're looking to finish what Benno and Vico had started. Originally, Chino definitely getting the better end of that trade. Grise already down now for the count. Chino nearly falling, but a back-to-back knocks, double eliminations. And Chino holding strong here. Prodoxy gonna find the final piece of the puzzle, and that's gonna be a clean sweep at Canyon Crossing.
And this is exactly what you need for Chino, Pablo, and Prodoxy. It's almost impossible to guarantee you're gonna win 12 out of 12. They already lost game 1, so when you do win that off-spawn fight, you have to make each and every single one of those games count, and they're already making it sure that they get those eliminations, and they even take down some of the top teams in their path. We'll switch on over to Hive. kind of business as usual as Mustache gets the down on the Goofy from across the map. But there's too much space, there's too much distance, and you look at their loadout, they don't have a ton of crash pads, they don't have a lot of Flowberry Fizz that they're using together, so they're not going to be able to easily rotate on over to get the elimination.
Also an issue with Swizzy having just been freshly knocked. That's going to mean that Mustache is now on revive responsibility, and then immediately straight back to trying to acquire additional surge from across the way. Oceania, though, definitely sending some presence back towards the way of EU. We'll have to check up and see how well this fares, but the elimination feed definitely picking up and revisiting Dystopia City. Victor V and Epic Whale. But Victor V's got 2 eliminations, and they're able to take care of this reboot no problem, but still bound to draw some additional attention.
Yeah, and kind of rightfully so. These guys are just playing out of their minds. Victor V deserves the biggest stage and the biggest round of applause. Honestly, I don't know where Pops is at in this building, but he has to be a part of this loud crowd. And there's the second elimination on the Razzo, and they're making sure they know it. Look, it doesn't matter, M8 or not, they're cheering for this young individual.
Can't help but think part of the success that some of these teams are trying to claim, it does start with finding those early eliminations, even a knock, anything to kind of boost your confidence. But Art, someone who was definitely swinging throughout that first lobby. Still, this is a difficult situation to tackle here. Kadu, Pisco, and Striker just continue trying to parade into these walls. They're not going to be able to break through the box just yet, but Southco from overhead alongside Art, they're looking to try and make a separate angle approach. They've actually got Striker's trio a little bit trapped, and despite things looking slightly grim here for Arc and Salco, they've delayed it long enough. This might not be that appetizing of a fight.
Yeah, and luckily for them, though, down below, they have control of a lot of the pieces, so it's kind of going into enemy territory for Tisco, Kadu, and Striker. They have to be careful. The risk-reward scenario here, and they think they have the mismatch, but no, another team rolls up. Upbull, Focus, Mixin, and they get at least one of those eliminations onto Kadu. That's going to help. That's a breath of fresh air for Art and Salco, because this distraction is allowing them to stay alive as Mixin and Upbull, they clean up yet another elimination out here deep in the zone.
Dastardly there from Upbull, and a steep punish to boot. Just a fresh reminder to every single one of these teams in the lobby, there is no such thing as a clean battle if you can't find that quick time to elimination. It's something that so many of these veterans here on land, we're looking at a ton of major winners, right? Even across the international stage, but Watch getting busy. Raito gonna be eliminated. And checking back now with Mixin, Upbull, and Focus, they recognize there's still one more trio member. Granted, with those 2 eliminations, they're recognizing the fact that this is just an easy final piece if we want to take it, but it's not something they have to force.
Yeah, you got to really be careful here, too, if you're Arc and Salco, because that team's just floating around. They don't necessarily know Arc and Salco are there, so they just have to be patient as can be and kind of hope they have enough Storm Surge to last these next couple of zones. Because they're not a team that'll build those towers. Arcspo and Salco is one that just kind of fight for their surge all across the western side of the map. For Wax, Bing, Malabuka, they have that one elimination so far, uncontested at Outpost. But very, very similar to that last game, this zone is pulling all the way towards the north, so a lot of these teams have to think rather quickly.
But this is a very dangerous position that Ping has taken up. He's being fully collapsed on by the Middle East. Halad gonna find that initial knock onto Ping. Malabuka gonna be forced to try and possibly pull back from this position. FKS, Hero, and Halad just fully intervening with what they were scheming by the Alpha's Enclave. They're trying to get some surge across the way from Panzer and Yapto, but that option has just been reduced to nothing.
All about kind of waiting to see if it's worth it. They know at least 2 teams are fighting, but they may not know how many are still alive over on this side of the map. But Malabuka is using that opportunity. Even with his teammate down, he knows Storm Surge is a problem, and he has to worry about it every step of the game. Pablo, Chino for Doxy, they get another elimination. This time it was Visuals who have went down, and honestly, this is like redemption. They said we went down early in game 1, we didn't get any points. If we have any shot of getting a top 10 in this tournament, we have to pick up the pace, and that they shall do.
This is so reminiscent of how they handled their Major 3 performance in EU. They were scrappy, they were aggressive, and they were successful for it. And right now, when you're staring at a team, oh, hold that thought though, Chino taken out of the sky. That's the dangers involved with this Flowberry Fizz, and the crash pad still has Pablo and Ferdoxy to immediately back him up with that double revive, but there's definitely trouble in the horizon. Teams immediately trying to key them, seeing that knock was successful.
Yeah, it's kind of an opportune moment. They just chop out the... I feel like I've seen this more and more and more. They just take that opportunity, catching them slipping, maybe even asleep, and they just end that fight rather quickly. But it was Agers, Acorn, and Pollo that actually did get that knock. It does look like they were trying to rotate in that direction, but they rather quickly to get the revive. No worries there. Malibuca walks. No ping still in sight. There's so many teams here on the southern portion of the map, including Hero, Halad, and FKS. And Alex team even beginning to rotate over along with the Non and Resigns. This southern portion of the map is looking rather busy.
Oshi has just decided, hey, we are so far south, but we need to get surged somehow. So for them to push forward, they might have taken notice of what was taking place inside of that elimination feed. A slightly different tempo, though, for Marius, Vanya, and Pixie. Just content to farm things out a little bit at OXR headquarters. Spot King off in his own surge base. Decent ways away, though. So all this plethora of heals and loot and easy rotations, but surprisingly enough, Arc might have just been able to clutch up big time for himself and Salco.
Yeah, I feel like that's almost an understatement. They tried to get the reboot back onto Skull. He went down again. It's almost no loss because they were able to pick up a huge elimination as Malibuca getting a knock onto Non, but we're going to jump on board Cooper, Reed, and Curly. They were the ones kind of admitting, hey, for us to get Storm Surge, for us to get that damage, it's going to be a challenge. But now you can see what's landing right next to him. A huge drop, a huge upgrade. And that's something a team like this feeling confident once they get it.
Salco and Arc still trying to fight things out here. Big knock onto Uppo, but Focus from overhead. He's going to bring down Salco. It's all down to Focus versus Arc. Focus definitely having the HP advantage currently, but he's going to go for the full finish here onto Salco. That Siphon immediately extending his leverage here. Arc scrambling underneath him, trying to see if he can replenish just a little bit of his shields to boot. But Arc, he's got to make a decision. He's got to make it quick. He's trying to see if he can get this right angle peek. Instead, stuck underneath these pre-existing builds. Focus going to create a little bit of space here. Focus off the right biz, trying to get the overhead approach, and Arc, he's still looking to take this fight. He's not backing down. You have to respect the guts to go for it. And Focus still struggling to clean things up. Arc might just be able to turn it, but Arc, he doesn't have a lot of HP. He has to reload. He's not going to be able to win it. He had the opportunity, Jacob, if he just had one more shot.
Very, very unfortunate circumstances for Arc. He ran out of white heals, no bandages, no med kits, those slurp juices. He had to be aggressive, but that played directly into Focus's hands, and he capitalized on it perfectly. Even though they're out of zone, Taco, I expect their full trio to be back into this game rather shortly. The fourth zone, still relatively early on in this game, but 6 eliminations for Halad, FKS, and Hero. Seeing how they're picking up some of those eliminations. It's Walks, he gets caught slipping, clothesline, shut down rather easy. Malibuca as well, no knock on the Malibuca, which means they're out of this game.
We knew it was going to be difficult, though, for Malibuca's team to have a recovery point. They got so locked down at Outpost and Clay, but this is wicked work by Pablo, Chino, and Ferdoxy, just slowly making the Ferdoxy crouch approach. He's been notorious for this method over the course of this past year, and now, currently, it could be the surprise that Peterbot does not want to have to deal with, or Gold and Ritual. But Pablo, Chino, Ferdoxy, the patience, the discipline, they know exactly when they want to strike. They could possibly even be looking to try and tackle a couple other teams nearby.
Yeah, just kind of double options, wait for zone. But if somebody kind of gets a little bit too ahead of themselves, that could be an opportunity as Peterbot shutting down Resigns, and again, no knock. So the #1 team from OCE is out of the lobby in game number 2 as Peterbot, Cold, and Ritual looks to ramp things up. But pick Starman Demas, underdog story the entire year. And this is something, I love the underdog story. And everybody, so many people were putting this team in the top 10, maybe even some inside of the top 5. Yesterday, we were watching their games. They were kind of having fun with some sky bases, but now is the time to really put it all to the test. Zone favoring their side of the map. They just had to travel up a little bit towards the north, but now they got a position ahead of everybody team toward the south. This is a good chance for them to start to accumulate surge.
Their low ground fragging potential has been what's really struck them into the spotlight from EU, but you can't help but think about the fact that even in that first lobby, I know Sven has been cooking up some strats with his Polish boys, because we saw Big Starman Demas attempting to maintain height at one point. Curious if they tried to do that same sort of mentality in the secondary lobby. Height was definitely a little bit scrappy last game, but King, Phaser, and OPA's in a little bit of trouble here, but they know Focus is in even more trouble. They want to see if they can maybe isolate that solo, keep him pinpointed, keep him away from their position. PHZN is going to need a bailout soon, though.
Yeah, this is a scary situation for the entire trio, for that matter. Finally, they find some heals, but I was just thinking 177 above the damage threshold. It is above the damage threshold, but it is not a ton. Things can change rather quickly, especially you see Merstash, you see Swizzy, Queasy on the other side of the mountain in the zone, pushing further and further towards the northeast. And this is where in the back of my mind, I'm like, oh my gosh, on that side of the map, Taco, there's mountain ranges, there's dips, there's dives, there's so many different things in terms of elevation. Teams better be prepared.
And look, game one definitely did not pan out the way that Acorn, Poyo, and Agers would have normally anticipated, or anybody honestly in this audience would have expected them to do. But with so much surge damage already online, Jacob, this dead side rotate is absolutely perfect. They don't have to worry about encountering any of the clusters that might be starting to build on the edge of zone. The real thing that they're going to have to be very, very cautious of is just not getting beamed from the sky.
Yeah, they're going to be rotating to a lot of teams for that matter. So that's why they're trying to use that new upgraded launch pad. You mix in the Flowberry Fizz, and you tend to kind of get out of render distance for some teams, and you kind of get a free rotation in. It all depends on who's kind of looking up at a moment. And now we're seeing a peak with Kanata, Rapid, and Bolts of what that southern side of the zone actually looks like. This is what Agers, Acorn, and Poyo are actually rotating into. So for Kanata, Rapid, and Bolts, they already won game number 1, 9 eliminations. For them, I think it's kind of like slow and steady wins the race. They're not going to get greedy for eliminations. They're going to let them naturally present themselves throughout the course of this game.
Love to see some of these elevation shifts, though. It really challenges some of these IGLs finding the most optimal path for their teammates. Swizzy, Queasy, Merstash, not going to get too tagged up here by Iyamzo, Higgs, and Clicks. A bit of a missed opportunity. Victor V, though, that's going to finally be a connection there from Iyamzo, the future, trying to see if he can pop off here. But it's going to be tough. They don't want to forfeit their position right now, Jacob, to try and key against Victor V, Epic, and Paper. They're just going to let them continue to tunnel through towards that side of the mountain phase. Kazi and Aspic, though, stuck. Prodoxy, Pablo, Chino. They're not gonna let these guys go.
Bro, they got the exotic Slapberry Fizz, they got Slurp Juices, they got Splashes. I know you start to think a little scared, like how much do they have to stay this deep in the zone? It is gonna be a 2-tick, but they have more than enough, and 2 potential eliminations, which will grant them Siphon, so that way they can save those heals even more. As Prodoxy doing his lurk, patented lurk here coming out, up above. Chino's not gonna need the help that he thought he did. They're gonna clean up those eliminations. They have 11 eliminations. What are we witnessing out of Prodoxy, Pablo, and Chino?
They're making up for lost time. That last lobby, they had 0 placement points from being wiped off spawn, but 44 elimination points is absurd, Jacob. And they're not looking to slow down anytime soon. What I'm worried about for them right now is they are taking a lot of storm damage. Storm sickness could definitely pose a problem for them later on, but we'll just have to see how they continue to move through this lobby. Meanwhile, Peterbine, Poe, Ritual, a little bit stuck. We're so used, everybody is used to seeing Peterbine, Ritual, and Cole be super stacked from those divisional cups, but here in the global stage, they just haven't found a home.
Honestly, quite shocking. We tune into Mr. Savage, Reason, no chap in sight. Getting eliminated early, but I'm a glass half full type of guy. You see them center zone, so as long as they have enough Storm Surge, they're not going to have to worry about rotating from point A to point B like most of these teams. And then you can see the whole stack side, the eastern side of the zone, that have the elevation. So now it's kind of like a mind game for some of these players. Do I give up my little bit of high ground to rotate a little bit more center where there's less and less pressure from some of these teams, or do I stay and hope for the best that the zone cuts back to the northeast?
Queasy already scouting out exactly where he wants to go next, with Kukarit and Curly holding down the high ground, though. Peterbot, Ritual Cold, they're a little bit stuck here. They can't break through. Instead, they're going to have to deal with Brodoxy pulling up directly behind them, and they just don't have that much material. They've got a completely stacked trio in comparison, loadout-wise, and Brodoxy recognizes just how in tatters Peterbot's team actually is. That could be a very dicey situation. Instead, focus now from Chino, Pablo, and Brodoxy going to be applied directly towards Epic Whale and Paper, trying to make a slightly lower rotational approach, but Chino and Pablo, they are completely smothering Paper and Epic.
Yeah, just kind of forced them out of the zone. And it's not a ton of damage each and every second, but that definitely adds up. Look at Paper, HP absolutely diminished in the blink of an eye because of that rotation. But it might have been worth it. It pulls towards their south with a lot of these teams, but Brodoxy knows they're trying to put down pressure. 10 HP, barely surviving. There's a second too quick beacon. That's Ritual. That's Cold and Peterbot. One's going to go down. Cold's going to fall as well. Ritual by himself yet again. He's able to get the knock onto Pablo, but there is no chance of him getting the elimination.
Ritual's gonna opt for the trade of revives. He loses Cold entirely, and he's not able to actually stick it to Peterbot. Peterbot's gonna be left behind. Ritual gonna be forced to play it out as a solo now. Chino, Pablo, and Brodoxy, they might even look to hunt him later on. They know he's somewhere tangled up in this lower layer, but still, they are just so heavily looted up, Jacob. The world is their oyster right now.
From 11 to 13, big numbers in game 2. Agers Pollo trying to do the same thing, but they just run into speed bump after speed bump. Bolts gets the elimination. Active Storm Surge on the Agers. He does have some heals, but he needs to start figuring out where he's going to get the damage from as a solo. You see in the numbers just kind of tip and top, up and down, 30 to 20. He's trying to figure it out, but every 7 seconds, 25 damage. He lands just a chip shot, but it's enough to get above the damage threshold. But as soon as he starts to try to rotate in, high ground just focuses him and beans him down to 58 HP.
Exactly what you'd expect to see from Hype, but Agers still found this little pocket, this little bubble, a breathing room, that is, until the surge damage starts to tick away at his life again. Agers just trying to see if he could come up with anything. Sure, they managed to dip a little bit into the placement points, but it's just not enough. They've got to go on a massive recovery tour for game 3. Swizzy, Queasy, and Mustache, though, they've already found their spot in this lobby, and it's straight towards Hype.
Queasy has one motto: take height, don't get eliminated. And obviously in the first game, they gave it up because they didn't want to go down. This time is their chance. 400 plus damage above the threshold, and it's continuously counting upward, and they pull the zone. That is the biggest difference from game 1 to game 2. They now have the front side, and they have full control. And Brodoxy trying to fly his way in. He instantly gets knocked down. And now it's up to Pablo, Chino, and they're not immediately trying to drop down low. They're trying to assess the situation and figure out if they can take it.
Chino's been on fire. Pablo, still 3 eliminations too, but 11 elims despite losing Brodoxy. This is still a classic scenario for Pablo and Chino. They might still be able to make it work. They're trying to see if they can figure out, maybe take away a little bit of an advantage play, because these teams are looking for pre-edits in the mid-ground and even in the lower layers, but they're not going to allow it. Mustache, Swizzy, and Queasy are the real threat right now, though. They just continue to apply steady pressure to those mid layers. It's a big part of the reason why these teams are just getting so picked apart in between.